Welcome in today on Fat Tuesday. Getting ready for the Lenten season, Mardi Gras, all that kind of good stuff. Good to have you. Bill Michaels Show on this Tuesday, back at it. And Ben Kenny, have you learned all about the Punchkis yet? Okay. Okay, yeah. There you go. Yeah, I got up this morning, and just like I said yesterday, at least here in the Milwaukee market, everybody was at a bakery. There was Cranky's, there was National, there was Greeby's. They were all standing by, and so I was taking pictures of the punchkis and the boxes and how they spell them, Paxki. They don't even look the way they don't sound the way they're spelled. So all that kind of good stuff. But I just thought, yeah, here it is. Here's one of those days that you need to get used to. So that's what we did, and I showed you that this morning. Not that it really means much in the grand scheme of things, but thought I'd throw it out there. You got Mardi Gras going on. Big Easy's getting ready for their big party. So that's happening. In the meantime, today is the day that teams can put the franchise tag. That window opens today. The biggest name being thrown around out there, obviously, is Lamar Jackson, because he could not come to an agreement via contract. So he's looking for Deshaun Watson's kind of deal. He's looking for everything completely guaranteed. And the Baltimore Ravens are not willing to do that at this point. So there's the real possibility he's going to get franchise tag. In the meantime, I was reading The Athletic, and the biggest chatter in the NFL, obviously, is Aaron Rodgers. And that goes without saying. It also takes a look at the needs of the Green Bay Packers. And I want to take a look at a little bit of that today as well. And by the way, Rick hits me up over on Twitter and just says, "Hey, Bill, what is the first thing I see today when I turn on WBAY TV? A reporter at the local bake shop. Punchki Day." I said, "You call it. I told you. Those Punchkis, man, that's big news. That's big news." David says, "Don't forget about King Cake." Then you got other kind of stuff going on. So anyway, there you have it. But it was it's that Punchki Day, man. It's that.
Don't forget about that. So get out and grab them. It's they literally the Fat Tuesday, eat up all the fat, and then after that we go into the Lenten season, and there you have it. So, what else do we have here for you? As I mentioned, by the way, you got first full squad workouts today for the Milwaukee Brewers. That's taking place today as well, and so the Brewers on the field. Their first game coming up this Saturday. Ben, now being the mighty WOZN in Madison, as we are, the AM and the FM Combine, is the first game broadcast this Saturday? Do you know?
That is a terrific question, and one that I can find the answer to.
I would track that down, see if the first actual radio broadcast of Brewers baseball is this Saturday. Regardless of what you feel about the team, it is always nice when you turn on the radio on the weekend and you go, "Oh," and there's Brewers baseball back. So it's always good to find that out as a mighty affiliate out there. So looking forward to that. It's either going to be Saturday or Sunday, I would assume, as they get spring training games underway. Today is also Election Day, and I'm sure you've seen all the smear political ad campaigns for everybody that's running for something. Which it used to be, didn't it used to be that just the candidates would put out, stuff, and they would say, this is what I'm for, this is what I'm against. And then every now and then you'd get into the mudslinging of one candidate going against another candidate. Now you have every special interest group that finds the most minute things and they put it out there and they muddy the water, and you don't know what you're actually getting anymore. You're just which has really kind of divided us. We're just like party lines now. Where everybody just screams and yells and argues. Not that I get into politics very much, but I'm kind of was watching and reading some of the candidacies for state Supreme Court and such, and some of the local races. And it's like, wow, some of the stuff that's out there is just if you're not somebody who likes to dig for information, you can just read a headline and be like, wow. completely misled. So I always suggest you at least read a little bit. But anyway. What else do we have here for you? Red says, hey, unit, living up here in Green Bay. We're waiting for the Great White Death. I bought 2 boxes of punchkis today, brought them into the office, and lo and behold, most of the guys called in sick. So I'm going to sit here and eat them and listen to the show. Red, you the man. That's the way to spend your punchki day. Like that.
That's a better way to live than it is in this building over here, Bill.
What is it
I
in
will
the building?
say, we collectively, we in this company work with a lot of vultures, as I would call them, where if there's any type of food brought in, free
It's
or
gone.
leftovers,
Yeah.
it's gone before they even send an email out.
Yeah.
People start pocketing it. They wrap it up in a napkin.
That's just it. That it's not only do they take something for them, but they take something for them for 3 days from now.
Oh, it's ridiculous.
I just, when I was out there for the sales seminar, they had put some donuts in that big conference room. And there was like 2 boxes. And so I thought, that's kind of nice, So I didn't grab anything. I love donuts, but I'm trying to kind of cut back. So I'm like, that's pretty nice. So I went up the hall. I went to the bathroom. I came back. A box was gone. And it wasn't like a donut was gone or all the donuts in the box was gone. A box was gone. Somebody came in and took a box and just absconded with it. I think it was up at the FMs. I'm like, that's for the sales meeting. Oh, I didn't know. So just somebody throws down 2 random boxes of donuts and you're like, I'm taking this. It's like, what the hell? So literally walking down the hall with a box of donuts under the arm. I'm like, that's for the sales meeting. Oh, I didn't know. Oh, is that the mentality out there, Ben? That if there's just boxes of stuff, a box has got to be for me, right?
It is. And then to add insult to the injury, they send an email out after the food is taken to say that there's free food.
Yeah.
Only to have people come in and see empty boxes.
Yeah.
Oh, it's terrific.
Yep.
Love it.
Absolutely. Yep. Absolutely. So anyway, if you're in your office today, remember, take one, allow some punchkis and such for the others. And then once the end of the day rolls around, you can do that one eyebrow thing like you're a bank robber ready to kind of go into the Fifth National and knock it off. Then you go in, grab an extra 1 or 2, and then you abscond with it. The fun ones are always the raspberry, the chocolate filled, and the cream filled. The one that nobody really wants to get a hold of is that prune one. First of all, isn't prune a big dried fruit? So how did it get jelly in it? And then nobody really needs the after effect. While the dough may bind you a little bit, the prune ultimately is basically just not doing nothing more than lubing the shoot, and nobody needs that either. So I thought I'd throw that out there. So if you get the prune one, I understand it when that's in the box. To throw it away.
There's jelly in prunes.
I have no idea. Prunes are a dried fruit.
Right.
I mean, they're completely dried out. And
I've had prune juice.
But how do you get juice? How do you get juice? You can't squeeze prunes to get juices.
Can you?
I don't think so. It's called a dried fruit. So what do they do? Reconstitute it, only to pull the enzymes out of it that break down whatever it happens to be, the lodging up your colon like a bad piece of cheese on a highway on a 43 right there going to a Green Bay Packer game. And then all of a sudden, next thing you know, the clog or the blockage is gone. Prunes are...
I have a recipe.
Okay.
Actually.
For what?
5 to 6 prunes, 1 cup of hot water.
Tom says fire in the
3 pitted
hole.
prunes. Some apple juice, some vanilla yogurt, some cinnamon, vanilla extract, nutmeg, crushed ice, and some mint.
What the hell is that?
That's prune juice.
Is that off the top of your head?
No, I looked it up.
Oh my God, that was so fast.
I'm
like, that was so fast. I'm like, what is this? I just picture you at home, like some crazy scientist putting a concoction together, watching the Badgers play basketball. And you're like, you know what? I can either make myself some prune juice or watch Badger basketball. I'll go with the prune juice.
Yeah, it's like you have prunes, you have prune juice, then you try to find a way to smoke it.
Okay.
You got to just ingest it however you can.
Okay. Gotcha.
Anyway,
My grandmother used to have prune juice in the house all the time. All the time. It was awful. It was awful. You'd always reach in and think it had a darker color to it. So if you didn't look real fast, you swear you're grabbing the grape juice, and it wasn't grape juice. You pour it out and you're like, oh God.
well, it's effective though. Hope you had good toilet paper.
No. You don't want that. Not as a kid. You're out there playing baseball. You're like, oh, look, and then you got to run. I mean, you got to, and you're grabbing, you're running, you're grabbing, you're running, and then you're crying because it's too late. And then the next thing you know, you got to go home. Mom's got to take you home. Got those old Adidas shorts, the scalloped ones on the sides with the piping down the side. You look like an idiot. Yeah, especially back in the day, they used to come in white. Nobody wears white shorts anymore.
What? Oh, shorts. Thought you meant prunes.
No, those shorts used to come in white. Those shorts came in white. As a little kid, you got your red, your Cincinnati Reds, T-shirt, jersey looking thing on with your red helmet and your white shorts with the red scallop on it. And then you drink the prune juice by accident. Next thing you know, bam, looks like you slid into home. Nobody needs that. How do we get so far off the beaten path right out of the chute? Oh my God, this thing just derailed on a Fat Tuesday.
What's your damn donuts?
It is. It was the donut story. I apologize
Punchkies.
for that. I apologize for that. So anyway, getting things back on track. So anyway, happy Fat Tuesday. By the way, and I mentioned this before, a really good article written in The Athletic, if you get it, about the Packers' needs. One of the biggest Packers issues is not necessarily just finding out what's good. It's always popular to talk about the quarterback. I mean, it is the most visible, most sought after, most discussed, most drama-filled position and or player there is. But one of the real concerns coming out of the Brewers, or out of the Packers season, is safety. Adrian Amos most likely not going to be back with the team. Darnell Savage did not have a great start to the season. He played well in the second half, but that was late in the second half. And then in the meantime, you got to figure out what you're going to do, because you're, $17 million. Well, now about $8 million over the salary cap after the restructure for Aaron Jones, but you still don't have a lot of money to deal with. So you have to figure that position out. Then, by the way, some good news regarding the Milwaukee Bucks. As we found out earlier today, Giannis, no tear in the tendons in the wrist. The MRIs have all come out good. As Budenholzer said the other day, he said, hey, look, it's just really sore. They believe he's going to be okay. Most likely, he's going to miss games. Now, remember, with that right knee injury earlier this year, he missed 11 games. If he misses 3, 4, 5 games, they're still vying for the top spot in the East and the top spot in the NBA. But that being said, Giannis avoided any kind of a serious tear and or injury in that sense. So the good news is the Milwaukee Bucks will be with their star, and Giannis, should be okay. In the meantime, they signed Myers Leonard. In case you didn't know, Myers Leonard now he's not played, going all the way back to 2021. 2021. They signed him to a 10-day contract. He's 30 years old, hasn't played in the NBA more than 2 years. He uttered an anti-Semitic slur during a Twitch stream when he was a member of the Miami Heat. In the aftermath of the incident, the Heat banned him from the team indefinitely before trading him to Oklahoma City a week later. Then the Thunder announced at the culmination of the trade that Leonard would not be an active member of the team. They subsequently released him. He has not played in the NBA since. And he's been hampered by a shoulder injury. He's played in just 3 games over the last 3 seasons prior to that. But it's basically insurance for Giannis over the next 10 days. And I can see him being kind of like a Serge Ibaka, just getting some minutes. The Bucks have been monitoring Leonard for, they say, more than a year. They conducted a workout with him in January. He also worked out with the Lakers, by the way, but the acquisition is going to fill an already open roster spot. The Bucks look to contend for the number 1 seed in the East, as we know. And Leonard's just, he's averaging under 6 points and a few boards a game and what have you. So he's just going to get some time. But the big news of that is the fact that, he is obviously, he used the derogatory term, which is, everybody is deemed unacceptable, but he is going to get a second chance. So, his return to the league comes a month after the NBA and the Brooklyn Nets. They reckoned with Kyrie Irving's decision, I should say, to share the anti-Semitic content on his social media page, and the Nets suspended him. So, and Kyrie Irving's back, he's playing. It just goes to show, your level of talent is going to be commensurate with your demand. So, if you're Kyrie Irving and you're going to fire off some anti-Semitic stuff and double down on it by not apologizing, then, okay, it is what it is. They're going to allow him to come back. Why? Because he's a talented guy, where, you get Leonard, who's not anywhere near as talented. He says something, he's basically between that and the injury out for a couple of years, but he's going to come back and be a little bit of an insurance policy. So we shall see on that front. What we're going to do is step away. We're going to take a quick break. We're going to come back. Teddy Bruschi talks about the Jets. And the reason you're going to want to listen is because it's now come down to the Jets wanting Derek Carr or Aaron Rodgers, one of those two. And it is becoming a little bit difference of opinion when it comes to which quarterback would be better in that particular situation. So let's do this. We're going to step out. We're going to take a quick break. We're going to come back, get back into this. You're going to hear what Teddy Bruschi had to say in regards to Derek Carr and Aaron Rodgers. This portion of the program brought to you by our good friends over there at Bud Light. They are the official beer sponsor of the Bill Michaels Sports Talk Network. So make sure if you're out and about coming up today and you're going to do some Fat Tuesday stuff, you don't give up beer for Lent. Maybe you do. So that means you indulge in a few before you give them up. And grab yourself a Punchki, grab yourself a Bud Light. You are good to go. More of the Bill Michaels Show next.
Covering Wisconsin sports like a blanket. This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
Everywhere you look, from groceries to utilities to gas, prices keep going up. Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin can dramatically help lower your energy costs year-round by replacing drafty windows and doors in as little as 6 weeks. And now you can save even more by taking advantage of 0% interest for up to 48 months when you lock in your prices by February 28th. I'm Gina Della from Pella. Bring the love of Wisconsin's outdoors in through the beauty and quality craftsmanship of Pella Windows and Doors. Whether you're updating or upgrading the look and comfort of your home, Pella has extensive lines of customizable options to meet your needs and your budget, no matter the season. Replacing drafty windows and doors can dramatically lower your energy costs. Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin offers some of the most energy efficient windows in the industry, designed to keep the cold outside where it belongs. Lock in your prices by February 28th and get 0% interest for up to 48 months. Visit PellaWI.com.
Certain restrictions apply.
Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
Welcome back. Good to have you. The Bill Michaels Show. We continue on enjoying the day, as you will. Hey, don't forget about our friends at Cunis RV, because they are Wisconsin's fastest growing RV dealership. Your travel and camping experts. If you're in the market for a motorhome, a fifth wheel, a camper van, travel trailer, they got you covered. I got a buddy of mine who was looking for a Forest River, really nice motorhome, and looked at a couple of different sites. Actually found a used one. Ended up going down to see my buddy Scott down in Elkhorn, and ended up buying one down there. He didn't get with the Forest River. He ended up getting a Keystone, or a Winnebago instead, and absolutely positively loves it. And he went there because of the service. And so if you're looking for terrific service, terrific people, and somebody that can say, hey, we know you got a brand in mind, that's great, but let's get it and suit it to your needs and wants. And that's the reason he ended up going there. So great stuff. So stop into any one of their many locations right now. Take advantage of the summer deals that are upcoming. They've got the APR for you as well, the annual percentage interest rate, and you can get it pretty much on most models and keep it across the board. Cunis RV also offering top dollar for your trade and consignments as well. So they're kind of your one-stop shop for everything. Cunis RV, the Midwest fastest growing RV dealer and camper destination. Easy for me to say, but they're just good people. They're all over the state. They continue to grow. You see their dealerships everywhere. Just stop in and tell them we sent you. Go to Cunis, Kunes, CunisRV.com. That is Cunis. The Teddy Bruschi discussion when it comes to Aaron Rodgers, Derek Carr, the New York Jets. This is what Teddy Bruschi had to say as to whether or not they should target Derek Carr or Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, in terms of waiting for Aaron Rodgers, Greeny Tenenbaum's right. I mean, what do the New York Jets want to be? And I think that's what they have to decide, because you go ahead and you get Derek Carr, you'll be good. I mean, you'll be good, but there's a big three in the AFC. I mean, and eventually, possibly think of, so the big three, you got Mahomes in Kansas City, you got Burrow in Cincinnati, and you've got Josh Allen in Buffalo. So through a playoff run, it is possible that you have to go through two of those teams. If you even get to the playoffs. Can Derek Carr do that? Can Derek Carr take you through the promised land and beat those quarterbacks and those teams? Is that what you want? Or maybe you're a Jet fan. I mean, is all you want the playoffs? Is that all you want, is to be competitive? And if that's what you want, go ahead and put all your chips in and go ahead and get Derek Carr. But if you want a chance to win a championship, because I believe this is what it's all about. I mean, I know the New York Jet fans aren't used to competing for championships on a yearly basis here, but you would think you would want that. And that is the answer if you get Aaron Rodgers. And so I'm just saying I would wait and do everything I possibly could to get Aaron Rodgers, because you got to also understand this about Derek Carr. You are going to the AFC East. Yeah. And the East means you're going to be playing outdoors if you play for the Jets. You're going to be going to New England possibly. You'll definitely be going to Buffalo. You're playing outdoors. And this is Derek Carr, including the playoffs in 40 degrees or below in outdoor stadiums. He's 1-9.
There you go. Teddy Bruschi basically laying down some facts there. And it appears now Derek Carr, his brother, has come out and said that David Carr has said that the free agency process is going to take a while, that Derek Carr wants to do his due diligence and see as many places as he can to get a feel for what's the best place for him. So you saw the numbers with him being outside, out of domes, in cold weather and such. Not a great look, so to speak. So in that sense, you know, if I'm the Jets, yeah, I'd probably want to wait. I don't think I'd be jumping into bed with Derek Carr right away. And it does appear like the Jets are going to just wait this out. So if you thought, as we all did, that the Jets are going to jump into bed with Derek Carr right away, and that would be an indicator as to whether or not most likely the belief is that Aaron Rodgers would not be available. But it looks like they're going to say, hey, thanks for coming, Derek. We appreciate you being here, and we'll let you know. So it looks like they are indeed going to wait. Like there might be a chance that the Green Bay Packers could end up dealing Aaron Rodgers before it's all said and done. At least that's the way things look outside in right now. So there you have it. 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. You want to find us, that's the way to get a hold of us. Phone lines are wide open. I look at it this way. I mean, Derek Carr, he's visited with the Saints. You got the Falcons coming up as well. They're going to be looking for a quarterback. Anybody in the South would probably want to take Derek Carr. If you got a couple of teams down in that direction, but if I'm the Jets, which quarterback do you think that you would want to wait for? And most likely, if you believe that Derek Carr is going to be scooped up off the market, and you look at it as if Carr is going to be scooped up off the market, you look at it and say, if it's Derek Carr, wait for Rodgers. I'm probably waiting for Rodgers if I'm the New York Jets. Now, already here we go, because people are saying, Packers need to say goodbye to Rodgers, and already calling him Felicia. Then it's, Rodgers doesn't play well in cold weather, so get rid of him. Remember, though, when you talk about the cold weather, the only team that he's really had to play in cold weather for has been the Bears, because the other two stadiums are usually, which is kind of crazy, because usually when the Packers go to Minnesota, it's in warm weather. Like last year was their opener. It was really nice out that day. It always seems like, and I know the Packers prefer this, it always seems like the Packers play all those dome games and those dome teams in the domes in September and October. And then when the cold weather gets here, maybe the Packers ask for that. Maybe they want it that way. But then they always get those teams at the end of the season in frigid weather, in terrible weather in Green Bay. And I know they keep talking about, this is the way we want it. This is our weather. And it's like, why, I understand it. I get it. Fans thrive on it. But I've said it for years. I'm like, why would you not want to go to a dome towards the end of the season, get out of the frigid elements where the weather could actually make a difference? And we've seen it now. Aaron Jones in the 2 of the last 3 years has fumbled away turnovers. Mercedes Lewis fumbled away the football. Rodgers has thrown a couple of interceptions. So why in the world would you say that this is the perfect weather for us when you've literally just given the ball away because of the weather? Don't get it. But anyway, 877-867-1670. If you want to find us, give us a buzz. Your thoughts as to whether or not it looks like the Jets to me anyway are going to kind of hang on. However, if you got a list, say the top 5 priorities for the Green Bay Packers, what would they be? And it's not a fashionable position, but you'd probably have to look. You'd probably have to look at safety, kind of the captain of your defense, so to speak, the center fielder of your defense. That might be one of the more vital positions. If I had to list my top 5, I'll tell you what they are when we come back. Stay tuned. This portion of the program, by the way, brought to you by our friends over there at Curly's Waterfront Pub and Grill. Like everybody out there on the market today is Fat Tuesday. Everybody's got something going on. And I'll tell you what, our friends over there at Curly's Waterfront Pub and Grill, no different today. No different today. So if you're going to be out and about, you got gumbo, Cajun shrimp on Fat Tuesday. So plenty of things. They got free darts today too, by the way. So if you want to go in there, sponsored by a couple of beverages. So if you want to go into our friends over there, Curly's Waterfront Sports Bar and Grill on Pewaukee Lake, go in and enjoy some Fat Tuesday stuff. Good stuff. 877-867-1670. More of the Bill Michaels Show next.
Ready? This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
They say the sky's the limit, but why stop there? This February at Potawatomi Casino Hotel, you could reach for the stars. Each Thursday night, if the stars align, you could reach for a piece of $400,000 in cash and prizes. Just play with your club card to earn entries 3 times on drawing days. Your win is written in the stars. Just play to find it. Only at Potawatomi. Visit paysbig.com/stars for more. Must be 21 years old and a club member to play.
Bill Michaels will resume in 5 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 4 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
Show, we continue on in this portion of the program brought to you by Lisa Lee Ortel Real Estate, and she can help you with all your real estate needs, whether you're looking to buy, sell, or even invest in property. You can follow her on Facebook or email her, lisamoveswi@gmail.com. lisamoveswi@gmail.com. You can just call over there too, 414-617-6798, 414-617-6798. And she's got a team of experts to work with. They can help you get a great closing cost, get your mortgage refied, or loans closed still in VA loans. They specialize in VA loans. Also a certified condo specialist as well. So if you're looking to either buy or sell your condo and get out of it, they can do that as well. Again, call Lisa, 414, anywhere in the state of Wisconsin, 414-617-6798, 414-617-6798. So my top five for when you talk about needs, okay? When you talk about needs for the Packers, number one, regardless who's under center, I think you need whether it's the development of Robert Tonyan or another pass-catching tight end, I think a tight end. And after that, I think you need more bench. Then after that, you need another wide receiver or two. And then you could probably say pass rush and or secondary. I know it's not flashy to go after defense, but one of the comments that was made in the Bud Light live stream was, well, San Francisco really hasn't had a terrific quarterback since Steve Young, and we can't get past them. That's true. You know why? Because they've had a hell of a defense. They had a terrific run game and a hell of a defense. That's why. And again, I go back to when the Packers faced them in the NFC Championship game a few years back. Mostert ran all over them. Remember, that was a game in which they threw the ball like 8 times. It was ridiculous, and the Packers couldn't stop the run. They just flat out couldn't stop the run, right? And then this past time at Lambeau Field, they took advantage. They very smartly took advantage of a poorly coached, recognized that it was poorly coached special teams unit. And then they beat up in the trenches on the offensive line for the obstinance of Matt LaFleur not to go back to what got him there. Now, the offense, certainly when Mercedes Lewis fumbled and A.J. Dillon went down with an injury and he couldn't continue. And obviously the run game, they were trying to run outside continuously and they just weren't fast enough to get outside. And it became obvious that they had to throw the ball and they had one guy to throw to. So their mode of defense was basically, we're going to double and triple team Devontae and let you try to win it with everybody else. And they couldn't do it. Whether it was obstinance of Aaron Rodgers or stupidity of Matt LaFleur, what have you. But there was enough reasoning there why they didn't win that ball game. It wasn't all just laid at the feet of the quarterback. There was so much to it that went into that loss. But I will say that, first of all, 3rd round picks have been the sinkhole of the Green Bay Packers. But to me, you start off with a tight end. You have to add a weapon. When you start to look at some of these really good teams that can move the sticks, gotta pick up a tight end that can catch the football, and you got to utilize them. That's it. And then after that, you can go with you can go with defense. In my opinion, defense. Another wide out or two. Just continue to build the arsenal, but you got to win it with defense. Jay Quall says, but we have the MVP. So what? Baltimore had an MVP. They didn't win it. So what? The MVP doesn't mean anything. You want a guy to play at an MVP level, they'll get you to the postseason. But once you get to the postseason, you got to have a complete team. You can't be that stupid to act like you're just going to win it because you have the best quarterback. When you look at even what Kansas City did, Kansas City took advantage of turnovers, a timely turnover, and a big special teams play. That's really kind of what won it for Kansas City. Now, don't get me wrong. They had a special quarterback, but you also had an incredibly special tight end. You had a good run game. All of that. And then they took advantage of special teams, and their defense got a gimme fumble that was returned for a touchdown. It was basically a 14-point swing. You can win a championship with an MVP. They just proved that. We've seen that. But go through history. It's not always the MVP that ends up winning a championship. It just doesn't happen that way on a consistent basis. How many years were other quarterbacks and other players MVPs, and yet it was Tom Brady walking away with a championship? Sometimes it's just who plays the better game, who plays the mistake-free game. So the one has nothing to do with the other. An MVP will get you to the postseason, but you better be a good, well-coached, disciplined, complete team by the time you get there. People act like you just get to the postseason and you have the MVP, you're going to win. And once you get to the postseason, everybody's good. You're not rolling over a bad Bears team. You're not rolling over a Tua-less Miami Dolphins. You're not rolling over a bad Houston team. You're playing really good football teams that deserve to be in the postseason in one way, shape, or form. And even if they were on the bubble, so be it. They're the ones that survived the bubble, and they made it to the postseason. 877-867-1670. I agree with you, Thomas. You need a safety. Safety would probably be third on my list. You do need one, but I'm not going strictly for a safety just because of needs. Not doing that just because of needs. You try to draft the best available. And when you sit there and you look at all the different players that are available, if you've got a safety that is listed as best available and or on the same level of the player that you're there in the position of drafting, then yeah, you go in that direction. But I'm not gonna elevate a guy that's lower on my list just because I'm drafting at this particular place. If that's the case, then I trade back and I garner another draft pick. You got to do your homework that way, though.
Oh, you got Rudy Ford, Bill. Remember when he was the next second coming?
Rudy Ford was, and you know what? And this year he played admirably, but I'm not resting my secondary on Rudy Ford. You know, Rudy Ford and Rasul Douglas and all those guys combined, that's a nice secondary, but I'm not going with those guys as my full-time base package starters. You know what I mean?
I agree. Yes.
So
throw Keyshawn Nixon back there.
Oh my God.
He's a wizard at everything else.
I'll tell you what, Keyshawn Nixon, man, I'm not letting him go. He's a first returner. I don't care. I don't care if he never plays a snap defensively. I'm keeping him around because he actually has a sense for, and he's got if you watch him in person, and I've said this all along, that there are guys that have a 40 speed, and you know, when they come out of the blocks and they run a 40, okay, they can run it at a 4.4, they can run it at a 4.2, they can run it at a 4.3. But then there's guys that run it at a mid to high 4.4, but they've got breakaway speed and or closing speed. And Keyshawn Nixon, when you watch him, he starts out kind of slow and he picks his lane, and then guys get an angle on him. And once they get an angle on him, then he accelerates, and that angle becomes bad, and they start to have to curve that angle around. And he gets past guys. I mean, there's a technique to it. It's almost like being a defensive back baiting a quarterback into the throw and then having enough closing speed to come in and either knock the ball down or pick the ball off. There's an art to that, and not a lot of guys have it. And he's got it. And once you find it, man, you don't want to give that up. Whew, no way. Keyshawn Nixon, I'm hanging on to that guy like grim death, for sure. Matthew says D-line. Boris says, what about a right tackle? Right tackle, I agree with you. I would be looking for a right tackle as well. You need one because you're dead. Now, if you end up giving that job to say Bakhtiari's back and you can give that job to Yosh Nijman, who didn't look good at it, but you give him a full offseason to kind of work and take all the reps over there. And you're not, because remember, Yosh Nijman was your left tackle when Bakhtiari wasn't. So he was left tackle, then Bakhtiari would come in, then he wasn't, then he was left tackle again, and then Bakhtiari was on a pitch count, and then Bakhtiari ended up coming and missing a couple of games, so Yosh Nijman was at left tackle, and there was no consistency there. They were bouncing him around. If you come in this year and you say, David Bakhtiari is my left tackle, Yosh Nijman's my right tackle, Elton Jenkins my left guard, John Runyon is my right guard, and Josh Myers is the guy in the middle, and I'm set, and that's the way it's going to be. Then you've got Yosh Nijman, you've got Zach Tom, Sean Ryan's going to be coming back from the PED suspension. You know that. You've got a couple of guys there that have been there. So you're okay depth-wise, but I would add additional depth. I'm not dying for a starter, but I'd be looking for a right tackle if you possibly can. I would go in that direction, I agree. But as far as your absolute positive needs, I think you need more defensive line depth. You need a safety. You need a tight end. Need those guys. 877-867-1670. Thoughts on all of that? Give us a call and give me your thoughts on the top five and the way you would put the needs of the Green Bay Packers, other than getting word from the quarterback. Stay tuned. We got a whole lot more of the Bill Michaels Show coming up. This portion of the program brought to you by our terrific friends at Quick Trip. Bacon right now, limit 2 on the bacon over at Quick Trip. Limit 2 because the price is so good. People are going in and scooping it up, and they're like, no, you got to do 2. So they're sending in family members and friends and neighborhood people and all that kind of stuff. Bacon up. But they got bacon. They got bread on sale. They've got their fantastic milks and everything else that goes along with it. Don't forget about using that Quick Rewards card. It'll save you some pain at the pump. It can also get you some discounts, all kinds of good stuff from our friends over there at Quick Trip. Use them anywhere and everywhere. And right now, before the great white death, the ice, the storm, the snow, the rain, everything hits, and we're all buried in our home for all eternity, and they're going to find us all frozen in time when they kind of come and chip us out of all the waste that is from the wintertime, when they chip us out. And wouldn't you like to be sitting there with one of those glazers in one hand on a Punchki day and sitting there with, like a thing of the milk over there from Quick Trip? And that's the way they find you. They can say, look, he may have frozen to death, but at least he was fortified from our friends at Quick Trip. Go to Quick Trip and check it out. And don't forget, use your Quick Rewards card.
This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
One of the worst things that you can hear, you have cancer. The worst is when you hear the words, your child has cancer. When a child is diagnosed with cancer, it changes their world. Sometimes they can't even do things that they really love, like playing soccer, riding a bike, going to prom, attending school. Children with cancer spend a lot of time away from others. Time in the hospital, treatments, tired, nauseous, and they feel isolated. That's where Special Spaces Wisconsin steps in. They provide these children with a special space where they can not only sleep, but they can play, they can heal, they can spend time away from the challenges of their illness. It's a customized bedroom designed just for them. How about a princess castle or pirate ship or a sports-themed bedroom? They transform that child's existing bedroom into a place that only he or she can imagine. A place for them just to be a kid. This effort is done with teams of dedicated volunteers and sponsors, just like our friends from Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin and all the community partners. If you'd like to find out more or to donate, go to specialspaces.org. That is specialspaces.org.
Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
Welcome back. Maybe you're doing some kind of Lenten thing or something like that. You want to give somebody a little piece of jewelry. Maybe you've got a birthday coming up, an anniversary coming up. Check out our friends at Kane and Kane Jewelers. Let them roll, as they say. Kane Jewelers. They're in Wisconsin. KOEHN. KaneJewelry.com. That is KaneJewelry.com, and you can see for yourself what we have going on. They're just good people over there, and Jen and everybody. And Andy's got the Buy Like a Guy podcast and do all kinds of different stuff on that podcast, which is fantastic. And I get a chance to watch it when it pops up over on Instagram all the time. But Buy Like a Guy podcast. And they do everything from bourbon tastings and whiskey tastings to teaching you how to buy jewelry, all that kind of good stuff. So check out our friends over there at Kane and Kane Jewelers. So, 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. If you want to give us a shout, by all means, go ahead and give us a buzz. Let's see here. I got a couple people that are on hold. I want to get to that here in just a second. This one's from Anthony, who says, Aaron Rodgers always gets you to the postseason. He doesn't take you any deeper than that. He's not supposed to. An entire team is supposed to go deeper. You can't rely on strictly a quarterback to win you every game in the postseason. The only time quarterbacks really should be able to come through, say, with 2 minutes remaining, big moments, things like that. You've seen Josh Allen win you games. You've seen Josh Allen falter. You've seen Joe Burrow win you games. You've seen Joe Burrow falter. You've seen Patrick Mahomes win you games. Same thing. But ultimately, and again, there seems to be this premise and I'm going to say, maybe for lack of a better term, the unintelligent that are over there spewing their stuff over in the Bud Light live stream say, well, once you get to the postseason, Rodgers cowers. Well, again, I can go back through a litany of games that he's won games and played extremely well. And then when you faced a really tough team and you needed an entire team to show up, you didn't have it. You can't fault Rodgers for a defense that allows a running back to run for 250 yards. You can't fault Rodgers for the obstinance of a head coach not to fire a special teams coordinator, knowing the problems they have. You can't fault Rodgers for not replacing the offensive lineman that had kind of gotten you there all season long. And then you finally bring back all the starters that are supposedly healthy, but they're just getting their ass handed to them, and the head coach refuses to make a change. You can't fault him for that. What you can fault him for is an errant pass or focusing on one guy. That you can, absolutely. But this whole premise that, well, you can only go so far, that you can't be that stupid. What you are is a hater, and your hate is obvious, and your bias comes out. 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. Give us a shout. Would love to hear from you. Matthew says, in my opinion, the Lions are no longer a guaranteed 2-win season. Absolutely. 100%. And again, when you talk about, Pac fan says unintelligent. Yeah, some people are. The hate is obvious. The hate is obvious. I'll get back to the phones. I'll get into the phones when we come back after the top of the hour. Stay tuned. Got a heck of a lot more coming up. More of the Bill Michaels Show right after this.
This is a Wisconsin Sports Zone update.
Giannis Antetokounmpo got some good news on his injured wrist when he saw a specialist in New York yesterday. Now, the Bucks had some concern after the wrist didn't improve over the All-Star weekend. Now, that led to further testing where it was found Giannis suffered a sprained ligament. Now, he is expected to miss some games, but not an extended period of time. The Bucks won 12 straight games heading into the All-Star break to pull within a half game of Boston for the top seed in the Eastern Conference, and the Deer returned to action Friday with Miami coming to the Pfizer Forum. Wisconsin basketball currently sits 15-11, 7-9 in Big Ten play. Head coach Greg Gardnett with the media yesterday and talked about staying the course as his team has lost 9 of their last 13 games.
It's a fine line. There's so much parity. Our margin for error is slim, so you have to find every advantage you can to take advantage of a situation. And when things don't go well, you have to learn from it and quickly flush it. You can't let what happened in the past impact your preparation or how you're going to play next. So stay positive with it, correct the mistakes, and move on.
Up next for the Badgers, they'll host the Iowa Hawkeyes tomorrow at the Kohl Center at 8 o'clock.
You're worth so much more. Have you ever had the choice to accumulate wealth or go into debt? Let's play Would You Rather. Would you rather have $190,000 in total compensation or be $29,000 in debt? That's the choice between paying for a bachelor's degree that might not even land you a job or an apprenticeship with Liuna that will lead to job security, a pension, stability, and a lifetime of great wages. You're worth so much more. Go to liunawisconsin.org/join to learn how to accumulate wealth instead of debt.
He last coached December 27th in Wisconsin's win over Oklahoma State in the Guaranteed Rate Bowl, but former Badgers defensive coordinator and interim head coach Jim Leonhard has now taken a step towards a new job as he's interviewed for the Philadelphia Eagles defensive coordinator position. For the Wisconsin Sports Zone Network, I'm Ebo.
Good to have you back. Hour number 2 of the Bill Michaels Show. Thanks for joining us. And talking about some of the needs of the Green Bay Packers, good article in The Athletic talking about the safety position being an area of concern. Obviously, if you do not bring back Adrian Amos, then you are in need of not only a starter, but you're in need of kind of that calming influence back there, that guy that knows it. That center fielder, if you will. And so if I was going to go, and I had kind of just put this out, if I'm going to go with my top 5 needs, I think number 1 is an impact tight end, because that's like getting yourself a wide receiver if you pick up an impact tight end. The second one would be depth on the defensive front. We saw the way the Packers kind of got manhandled this past year by just You know, you look at a guy like Quinnen Williams of the Jets, and you look at some of the defensive fronts they faced, and they struggled. The Packers' offensive line, as patchwork as it was, struggled at times, and you can see the way a defensive front can dictate the offense and dictate a game. So depth on the defensive front. Safety is obviously an area of concern. Number 3 is safety. Another wide receiver or 2. And then to me, right tackle depth. I already gave you kind of the rundown because if Yosh Nijman comes into the season and that's all he's going to be is right tackle, right tackle, right tackle, he can play left tackle if indeed David Bakhtiari should go down. But if you're keeping Bakhtiari, that means you have your left tackle. Elton Jenkins is your left guard. You've got your center. You've got your right tackle or right guard. Then what you do is you take Yosh Nijman and make him the full-time right tackle. Then what you need is depth, whether it's Zach Tom, Sean Ryan, whoever else it is. You've got some depth there, but you're still going to need to develop another right tackle and maybe find a left tackle along the way by the time it's all said and done. So that is my top 5 needs, the way I look at it. Let's get to the phone calls. Talk to Nathan, listening to us in Shawano. Nathan, how you doing today, man? What's going on?
Hey, how you doing? So, first of all, the people that are saying, oh, we have the MVP when you're talking about different players that you need to get, realize a decade ago when the Super Bowl was won, you need to look at the things that guys like Pickett and Raji and Matthews and Collins and Woodson did. We had a solid offensive line and a hell of a receiver core. It wasn't just Aaron Rodgers.
Right.
Second of all, talking about tight ends, you got to look at what guys like Kelsey and Kittle are doing and how much guys like Gronk were just killing people. I mean, you got guys that are the size of linebackers but run like receivers. How do you cover them? And in today's league, we don't have fullbacks anymore. The tight end has kind of taken over that position, so you kind of need a game changer at that. So I agree with you there. As a guy that grew up at a little over 6 foot tall, 300 pounds, I played a lot of line. So I have a heart for linemen, and there's nothing more than depth at the defensive line. You got guys that get tired out. I know you're talking about safety, and I kind of agree there. But if you can get after the quarterback, the receivers don't even have time to get down to where a safety is.
Well, considering here's the thing about safety. If you lose Amos, not only do you lose depth, you'll lose a starter, kind of that mainstay back there, and he's been very, very solid. So you're going to need one regardless. You know what I mean?
That completely. Like I said with my statement with the Super Bowl, I mean, Nick Collins was valuable as all can be. You need a solid guy back there, and I think you need someone that's I don't know about so much of a draft, and I don't know who's out there as far as veterans go, but I think you kind of need a veteran leadership back there, somebody that kind of knows the game, can kind of watch and keep things going, and maybe bring some of these rookies along. And as far as the wide receiver core, yeah, you can always build that. You need that. I don't care who your quarterback is. You can't do it with 1 or 2 guys. I think you're spot on with the players or the positions you're picking. I have no arguments at all whatsoever with the positions that you have. I agree 100%.
No, appreciate it, man. Thanks, Nathan. Nathan and Shauna, which, by the way, I got between those stations up north and the areas up north, man, batten down the hatches. I got my buddy Dwayne up in Wausau said they're expecting 15 to 22 inches of snow. Holy mackerel. So for everybody living in the northern area of Wisconsin, batten it down. I can't even imagine that. Now, here in this area, we are talking about rain and ice and sleet and the possibility of, power lines cracking and falling down and all that kind of stuff. But depending on which way the wind blows, but up north, 15 to 22 inches. Holy crap. By the way, going to be heading up to Four Seasons Island Resort this weekend for the Mardi Gras weekend. But because so much snow is coming, they are also encouraging people, hey, they still have a couple of rooms available. And if you've got your snowmobiles all ready to go, they say, come on up because the trails are wide open. They're getting a ton of snow. It's going to be a lot of fresh pack. So come on up and enjoy yourself. Or if you want to do some skiing, go to Pine Mountain. But check out our friends over there at Four Seasons Island Resort. And if you do, I will see you up there this weekend. 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. You can find us, hit us up. This is from Scott, who says, hey, Bill, I agree with your opinion on the draft for defense, but I have two words for you. Joe Barry. That's Scott in Arpin. I know. I get it. There's a lot of people that don't want to see Joe Barry, but Joe Barry's going to be back. Now you just have to hope that whatever talent they give him, he's not obstinate to just say, this is the way I'm going to run it. This is what I'm going to do. And I'm not going to change to the personnel I have, even though maybe the personnel don't necessarily believe in the scheme. Don't know what else to tell you. I just cross your fingers it works. Cross your fingers it goes back to what it was a couple of years ago and not, 2/3 of the way through the season like last year before they finally go, oh, maybe we shouldn't give up first downs. Our buddy Steve says, I sit here and think about what the Packers' main needs are. I'm also taking free agency as a means for plugging some holes. Here are my top 5 needs for potential players to fill them. Tight end, I agree it's one of the weakest links on offense. There has been a lot of talk about Michael Mayer from Notre Dame, but other than draft possibilities are Luke Musgraves from Oregon State, Dalton Kincaid from Utah. On the free agent front, I really like Dalton Schultz from the Cowboys. I've said that from the beginning, but I just think that he's going to cost you a pretty good chunk of change. But I agree with you. Dalton Schultz, he's not Travis Kelce. He is not, George Kittle, but he's a good receiving tight end. And I would love to see those hands come into this organization. Edge, if the Packers pull a trade off for Aaron Rodgers, they could be looking at Tyree Wilson from Texas A&M or Lucas Van Ness from Iowa. As far as the free agents go, maybe Marcus Davenport from the Saints. The Packers had him on a radar a while ago when he was drafted. And again, salary cap's probably going to limit what the Packers can actually do. Safety, Brian Branch from Alabama is kind of a ha-ha Clinton Dix type of guy with the Packers when the Packers drafted him. Hopefully he lasts a little bit longer. Another name is Antonio Johnson from Texas A&M. Free agent-wise, Jordan Poyer or Jimmy Ward would be on the market as well. Linebacker, I think, is a bigger need than some think. I really like Drew Sanders from Auburn, Jack Campbell from Iowa, free agent. Somebody like Tremaine Edwards or TJ Edwards would be a good fit. When you're talking linebacker, if you are thinking, for Quay Walker, Devondre Campbell, if you're thinking outside, I would go outside only for the fact that you don't know what Rashawn Gary's going to be like when he comes back from the torn ACL and the ACL surgery. It usually takes a guy another year to really get his legs under him again. So we'll see where Rashawn Gary's at. I don't even think Rashawn Gary will really be at training camp. I think he's going to miss most of that, most likely. And probably because when did Rashawn Gary go down, Ben? Do you remember what game that was that he ended up getting?
Detroit.
Was it Detroit? Okay.
The road game.
Okay.
So
yeah.
October.
Yeah, it was over. Yeah, I just couldn't remember what game that was. I was going to say, what game was that? Was it like 6 or 7 or something like that?
It was. Remember. I think it was.
Okay. I just couldn't remember. So, because the further into the season you go, the most because it's tough to come back within a year. So you assume training camp is going to be out of the situation. So you're looking at September, October, maybe at the earliest, the end of October, something like that for him to come back. So yeah, you're probably going to need another outside linebacker and a wide receiver. He says you need one more impact player. Quentin Johnson from Baylor may or may not be available at 15. Another name is Jordan Addison from USC. Free agents available: Juju Smith-Schuster, DJ Chark. They'd be better additions than a guy like Sammy Watkins was. And that's our buddy Steve in Ridgefield. Happy Fat Tuesday.
It's a damn free agency manifesto.
It is. It really is. I agree with you.
It's also like the tough part about where the Packers are at is we could list all the free agents. I don't know where the money is to sign these guys.
Exactly. I completely agree with you. They don't have right now. They're $8 million over the cap or thereabouts after they did the restructure of Aaron Jones and the re-signing of Aaron Jones. So they still got more money they've kicked a lot of money down the road. I just wonder what they're I don't know if they're going to be able to do much until they figure out in the next, 6 to 10 days what Aaron Rodgers is doing. I would assume they've got, plan A, plan B, and plan C, but you got to figure out what you're doing with the quarterback and what he's willing to do before you can just say, okay, let's go do this. I mean, you need $10 million under the cap just for your draftees, anywhere from 7 to 10, just for your draft class. So it's great to have, 6, 7, 10 draft choices, whatever it may be, but you got to pay for them too. You got to get them all in under the cap. So you need money right now. You're a little destitute when it comes to the money. So, and they are ranked, I think 28th right now in the league with available cap space. They're way down there. So I agree. It's going to be, it's great to look at all the different free agents. You just have to see what they're going to get. Hey, ESPN Steve says, you know where all the money is? Aaron has it. I agree. Well, they're going to end up, whether he's traded or not, they're going to end up doing something. They'll do something to make that deal more friendly. Now, how much cap relief he gives them, I don't know. What they work into, I don't know. But there's not much. There's not much room there. I mean, without, unless you add some type of voidable years. I mean, the money's the money at this point. I think you're going to have to figure a way around with other contracts and other deals rather than just Rodgers and that number. And I still get frustrated from that comment at the end of the season saying it's not all about the money when he was asked about coming back for $60 million or $59 million. Well, it's not all about the money. I wanted to throw up at that point because if it wasn't about the money, then why'd you take it to begin with? Why'd you take it? Why did you insist on this type of a contract and this type of money and put this team in this situation if it wasn't about the money? And that will never get a straight answer. The only thing I can say is it basically tied the hands of the franchise not to just say, talk to you later. That was it. That's it. It just tied the hands of the team. So he has the control and the team doesn't. So, and that I kind of understand, but other than that, that was it. That was it. Mark says, didn't he say he would take less? He said that the number that is there right now will not be the number that he plays for. In other words, there will be some type of restructure or maybe adding in voidable years or something like that. But he did say that it would be less than what it is right now. But basically that contract ties the hands of the team for a while until he decides what it is he would like to do. 877-867-1670. Phones are open if you choose to give us a buzz. Going to go ahead. Let's do this real quick. Jay Qualls over from the live stream. Jay Qualls, what's going on, man?
Oh, man, I didn't know you was going to do this quickly. I thought I was calling to have a conversation that the state needs to hear.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay. My thing is, I love your show, Bill. I just, before, know what I'm saying, I just want to know I love the show, and I will continue to listen to the show no matter how contentious this call may or may not get. But my thing is, and I missed yesterday when you told me to call in yesterday. That's why I'm calling in today.
Okay.
But, okay, let me get in my point, man. We need to move on from Aaron, man. It's hurting the franchise, and y'all pick and choose to try to place the blame on the other aspects of the team when the other aspects on the team is not on the field playing quarterback. Now, I know we don't know who called plays. We don't know who called the plays or whatever, but we know who not executing the plays, correctly. We having the same problem. There's no different from the time that McCarthy got fired. The only thing that's changed is Aaron won 2 MVP. That's the only thing that's changed, and the franchise is in worse shape than then. Would you agree?
Yeah, no, I would agree with you on that. Financially, they are more strapped now than they were then.
And so, like, we hurt financially. We not really, know what I'm saying, going to compete. Do you think we're going to compete for a Super Bowl this year, Bill?
This year, I thought we would. I thought the defense would be a lot better, and I thought that the offense, and I bought into it like a lot of people did. Losing Devontae wasn't going to be a big deal. I thought it would be a big deal, but I didn't think it would be that big of a deal. And I also thought that the line would be more stable, the tight end would be better, but it all comes down to the way, Aaron Rodgers played this year. And I don't think he played that well, and I don't think he dedicated himself in the offseason as much as he had in the past.
I agree with you, Bill. And now I'm asking you, if we bring Aaron back, do you think this is a Super Bowl team?
The only way, and I've said this before, the only way I bring Rodgers back if he's 100% committed, he's getting his butt into shape and he wants to come in and work with everybody. That's the only way I'm bringing him back. Otherwise, I'm not bringing him back. Logic would tell you it's time to move on, both financially and age. Both of those things would tell you it's time to move on. But in the past, he has, whenever he's been doubted, he's come back and made people pay for it, kind of eat their words. But do I feel it's a Super Bowl team? I think that they're a postseason team. And I think sometimes when you get to the postseason, anything can happen. But I think they're a postseason team. I just don't think that I would pick them to win a Super Bowl. I think I'd look at Philadelphia first, then Dallas, maybe San Francisco, and then I'd look at the Packers before I'd look at anybody else.
So you don't think we could be a postseason team with Jordan Love?
I haven't seen Jordan Love win one game yet, so I don't know what Jordan Love can do. I didn't like him coming. I mean, I've made no bones about it, Jay Qualls. When he came out of college, I didn't like the pick. I wasn't a fan of it. He wasn't a guy that threw guys open. He didn't throw into a window. So I liked what I saw out of him out of Philadelphia, but it was 9 passes. So once teams schemed for him.
He might have played against Philly where he threw out something, correct?
He played pretty well against Philadelphia, yeah.
No, I'm just saying, he specifically made a play that you said he couldn't make in college. In that game against Philly. And only 9 passes. He only had 9 passes.
I agree with you. I agree with you. And he looked better in the preseason, too. He had a couple of nice passes. So I'm just saying I've seen progress, but I don't know if he can win you games. I don't know. I would assume he can win you some, but I don't know about that.
Can we talk about Aaron Chuck Jobs before you let me go?
Yeah, go ahead.
And, I'm going to continue to call Bill because you need me.
Okay.
You need my voice. Okay. Now I'm not going to bring up the Seattle game, even though me personally, I blame Aaron for that. But I'm going to let the consensus blame Bostic. The consensus is going to blame Bostic, so I'm going to let I'm going to let the majority blame Bostic. But let me ask you this, Bill. When Aaron said we need to get out, he made a statement about getting home field advantage at Lambeau, did he not?
Oh, yeah. Yep.
And what happened?
And they look terrible.
I say he choked. I say he choked. He made that statement and he choked.
Yep, he didn't look good. The turnover when Mercedes Lewis fumbled the football, that was bad. When A.J. Dillon went down with the injury, that was bad. The special teams were terrible. All of that played into it, and Rodgers played like crap. I agree with you.
All that happened, Bill, and we got the 3rd and 8, and we needed Aaron to make a play. Did Aaron make a play, Bill?
No, he didn't. Nope, he didn't. I agree with that. Jay Qualls, I got to cut you off because we're way late for a break, man. Great call. Good to have you. Glad you're on. Appreciate it. Going to go ahead and take a quick break. Stay tuned. We got a lot more of the Bill Michaels Show coming up right after this.
Covering Wisconsin sports like a blanket. This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
Any season is grilling season, and you can get your favorite cuts delivered right to your doorstep. Go to ScholzieFamilyBeef.com. That's ScholzieFamilyBeef.com. One of the worst things that you can hear, you have cancer. The worst is when you hear the words, your child has cancer. When a child is diagnosed with cancer, it changes their world. Sometimes they can't even do things that they really love, like playing soccer, riding a bike, going to prom, attending school. Children with cancer spend a lot of time away from others. Time in the hospital, treatments, tired, nauseous, and they feel isolated. That's where Special Spaces Wisconsin steps in. They provide these children with a special space where they can not only sleep, but they can play, they can heal, they can spend time away from the challenges of their illness. It's a customized bedroom designed just for them. How about a princess castle or a pirate ship or a sports-themed bedroom? They transform that child's existing bedroom into a place that only he or she can imagine, a place for them just to be a kid. This effort is done with teams of dedicated volunteers and sponsors, just like our friends from Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin and all the community partners. If you'd like to find out more or to donate, go to specialspaces.org. That is specialspaces.org.
Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
Welcome back. So today was the day that, well, actually last night, but I sat down with our friends from New Mail, and I went through the whole weight loss in a box thing. I got the scale calibrated, and it's Bluetooth, so it goes to your phone with all the different, indexes and all that kind of stuff, and it gives you the dietary stuff. It basically says, here's everything you should buy, here's what you should eat, when you should eat it, and here's the caloric intake that's going to go along with it. And you kind of figure it out. And then you say, okay, this is where I want to be. This is where I am. And this is what it's going to take over this period of time to shed the pounds. And it's pretty much self-explanatory. You just follow it. And I'm an idiot when it comes to reading instructions. I got like the ADD thing. I read for like 2 minutes. My eyes roll back in my head. And I'm like, I can't do it. Whereas New Mail makes it really, really easy. And I'm telling you, it is just good stuff. In basically weight loss in a box. Call them 414-455-4451. That's 414-455-4451. And I'll take some before and after pictures and all that kind of stuff too. Be posting that. 877-867-1670. If you want to hit us up again, do so. Again, 877-867-1670. Ben, when Jay Qualls called, you were hoping that it was going to be some kind of crazy fight, right?
I was, as the producer I am. Listen, it's like,
you want Philly radio, man. You want arguing, screaming and yelling.
And get into it, call in and get into it, Like we can all go back and forth about the intricacies of the roster and things of that nature.
It's
what
difficult.
The people want to hear is some screaming.
It's difficult when you get into it on within 180 characters or what have you over on the live stream, because you just make a statement that can be that can be, just deciphered really quick, and then you kind of make an argument. But when you actually have a conversation, then you can say, okay, wait a minute, I agree with what you're saying here. And I do agree with that. But what people tend to look at is like, I just want Rodgers back. And that's not what I'm saying. What I have said, I will continue to say, is I would only take Rodgers back if he is 100% committed. I said it, and now it's been actually written about by Bob McGinn in the GoToLongTD.com page when they did the podcast, and where I thought Mike Clemens and I talked about, he looked slow. He looked like his elusiveness, his escapability wasn't there. He got hit a lot. When normally he would be able to kind of spin out of things, he wasn't doing that last year. And it looked like he got slow. And the first thing I thought of was not necessarily about Father Time catching him, but more so about, with everything that went on, did he really commit as much as he has in the past to the offseason? Because he just didn't look like he had the legs under him. And if you lose your legs, we all know as a quarterback, you're done. You're going to go down a very fast and steep hill. So that's why I keep saying if he's committed, he's going to work out. He's going to come in and work with the young guys and get this thing back on track. Then at least it makes it more tolerable money-wise for all of that. That I understand. But logically, it makes sense. Logically, it would say, okay, time to move on, time to figure out something else, and you better hope that Jordan Love's the real deal. And that's where logic comes into play. But I still say there's a sentimentality to all of this where Rodgers and I'm sure management want to run it back and try to get that one elusive championship one more time, but they are just so now to the point they're so strapped for cash. I just don't know if they have the ability to do that. So that's where you're kind of at. Logic will tell you move on. Your sentimentality will say if he's committed, bring him back and try to get one more before you finally kick that can down the road one more time. But that's kind of where I'm at. So when Jay Qualls called, and I see his stuff on the Bud Light live stream, as I see just about everybody's stuff for the most part, it's easy to say, wait a minute, you can't just look at this and say he's the reason to blame everything, because there is a lot of other stuff that goes in to losses. It's not just one guy. But when he has an incredible game, a career game that dictates not only the offense and puts points on the board, but it dictates the defense coming at you and the way offense is called from your opponent, that's one guy taking over a game. And so that's kind of how I look at things. So,
but you say all that to say, as you're sending messages on the live stream, you might as well just call in.
And you know what? I have.
It's a lot more fun from my perspective.
I have posted numerous times, people that come after me. Now, Jay Qualls had the balls to do it. There's others that don't. They say things and they don't call in. And they'll make accusations or whatever. They're just erroneous. And it's like, okay, call in. Let's talk about it. And they never do. They never do. It's a 140 character world, and people have Twitter muscles, and they do that. So there are some people that do, and there's some people that don't, and that's fine. It creates interaction and it creates discussion. 877-867-1670. You want to find us? There's plenty of ways to do so. You can also hit us up on Twitter, hit us up on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch TV, email the program, thebillmichaels@gmail.com. That's thebillmichaels@gmail.com. Our friends at the Water Doctors bring you this portion of the program as we went a little bit long in the first segment. So we got to take a quick duck out of here. But our friends at the Water Doctors, don't forget, they are all over. Kinetico water softening system is everywhere, and it is by far the best, hands down the best. And they help veterans, which with the Custom Canine Service Dog Academy, two terrific reasons. Not only a great product, but also because they do give something back to the community. Get a hold of our buddy John Atlee, 262-549-7733, 262-549-7733, anywhere in the state of Wisconsin. Anywhere. Give him a buzz. And if he can't help you personally, he will get you in touch with people who can. But the Kinetico water softening system, I swear by this thing. Whether it's laundry, shower, drinking water, whatever it is, it's absolutely fantastic. And I believe in it so much, I've taken it from home to home to home because it's just that good. And nothing has proven to me to be better. And I had other systems, trust me. Between the service and the system itself, hands down, Water Doctors, H2, the letter O, doctors.com, H2O doctors.com, or call John, 262-549-7733, 262-549-7733. More of the Bill Michaels Show next.
Covering Wisconsin sports like a blanket, this is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
Bill Michaels will resume in 5 minutes. Phil Michaels will resume in 4 minutes. Phil Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Phil Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Phil Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Phil Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
Talk about a good place to go for Fat Tuesday when you're talking a little Cajun, little Nolan style. Maybe getting a cocktail after the fact. That's our friends at Buzzard Billy's and the Starlight Lounge out in La Crosse. I'm sure there's a lot of Fat Tuesday goers out in the La Crosse area. And if you're going to be out and about, you want to do a little authentic with the gumbo and the Cajun. Oh, yeah. Stop out to Buzzard Billy's. Really, really good food. And then head upstairs to the Starlight Lounge after the fact. Grab yourself one of the good martinis. The Snickers martini is fantastic, but they have a variety of stuff that I'm sure you're going to love. But, man, two great places right there in downtown La Crosse. Stop and tell Heather. Heather's the GM over there. Tell Heather, hey, Heather, what's up? And tell her that you heard it here on the program. Good stuff from our friends over there at Buzzard Billy's in the Starlight Lounge. 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. Hit us up. Let's see here. This is, okay, let's see here. I'm trying to go through all of this stuff that coming across the live stream and over on Twitter and such. I got this one. This is from Mark. And Mark, this is a little bit interesting. Mark Kavanaugh. And Mark says, hey, Bill, listen to the show every day. He says, I haven't heard anybody talk about Jair and the downfall that Jair had last season. He's the highest paid corner in the league, and yet his cover ability seemed to fall off. Can you explain why? And if this is going to be something that's going to be alarming down the road? Well, I think part of it is Jair was coming back, first of all, from an injury. Secondly, a little cocky. He learned a couple of lessons along the way. Came up big in the big moment late in the season, obviously. But I think he got a little bit cocky. And I also think he's kind of feeling it, kind of getting back to it, so to speak. I think that he the same closing speed as Sam Shields, but he was trying to bait quarterbacks into making some throws. I also think, and this is, I don't think I'm giving away state secrets here, but I also think that he didn't really believe in what, Joe Barry was selling. And I think he was kind of doing some stuff, little rogue early on. I would probably venture a guess at trying to do some things on his own. He was not believing in what Joe Barry was selling. Little rogue. So I think there was a combination there. But as the season went on, he kind of came into his own again and started to look good. Now the other guy that did not have a good season before the injury was Eric Stokes. So, and don't forget, you're going to get him back. You're going to get Stokes back. You're going to get Rashawn Gary back. So you're going to have some of this depth that you didn't have at the end of the season and some of this different defensive looks. And mid-season, Devondre Campbell went down. I'm really, and I know Jay Qualls asked me a while ago, and he said, do you believe this is a Super Bowl bound team? I believe if Aaron Rodgers is back and you take everything the same, okay, if everything is the same, okay, the offense is the same, short of, like Randall Cobb and such. But if everything is the same, Bakhtiari in the offensive line is the same. Yosh Nijman is your full-time right tackle. I believe that your defense, maybe without Lowry, Devontae Wyatt getting full-time play, and Quay Walker having a second year under his belt and all this, I think if everything is the same, this is a playoff-bound team. Because I think they got punched in the face enough to say, holy crap, we do need to work and play and just pursue things harder with more intensity. We do need to be on the same page. All of that. Okay. So I believe it's a playoff bound team. I think they are 5 players away from being a Super Bowl bound team. If everything is run back pretty much the same, I think you need a more dynamic tight end or more dynamic tight end play. So if Robert Tonyan coming back from the ACL injury last year was a step slow, if he gains that back, I think he's a pass catching tight end. Not like a Dalton Schultz or something, but in that realm. Or if you go with Mayer in the draft, I think you get a little more dynamic pass catching tight end. Okay, I think you can go in that direction. I think you need depth on the defensive front that is going to add pressure and help your defense overall. Getting Rashawn Gary back, getting Stokes back, getting guys healthy and seeing how they play, I think will be better, obviously. A full season, another healthy full season, Devondre Campbell, blah, 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 But I think they're a postseason team. I think it starts with the quarterback's commitment. But beyond that, I don't see them being more dynamic and deeper talent-wise than, say, Dallas even. I think Dallas is an incredibly talented team. I just think that they've got a bad quarterback. You saw their quarterback fall short in the game against San Francisco. You know, defensively speaking, San Francisco has a stifling defense, which is why I think you get a pass catching tight end that opens things up. And then you're going to need one more wide receiver. You're going to need a veteran. You got to get somebody else that can help you. And I don't know if Juju Smith-Schuster is that guy. When you've got a bookend and you paired him up with MVS, then it became two guys that could be the Tyreek Hill, that could give you both a threat. They had decent enough hands that could be consistent, and they kind of made up a little bit for the loss of Tyreek Hill. But I don't think one guy like Juju is going to be that guy. I think you're going to need another guy. You're going to have to find somebody else. And you would certainly hope that Christian Watson takes a step forward. Both him and Romeo Doubs. Really, the guy that makes that draft is Samori Toure. Now, if you can draft another wide receiver, second or third round, that's going to be really good, albeit that third round, man, say a prayer and novena, because they have just not panned down for the Packers. But if you can get yourself a second or third round wide receiver that's still pretty good, then it gives you depth at that position. But I still think this is a playoff bound team. I don't think it is a legit Super Bowl contender. I think they'd probably be, now this is with Aaron Rodgers. Without Aaron Rodgers, they're probably 6th or 7th or 8th on the depth chart just because. But with Aaron Rodgers, I think by default, they're probably the 4th best team in the NFC. I would say Philadelphia, Dallas is going to be there again, San Francisco, and then Green Bay. Even though Detroit was better, the Minnesota Vikings were really good. You look at a lot of these other teams in the NFC that were pretty good and on the come. I still think the Packers with Rodgers are probably 4th. Without Rodgers, 7th, 8th, somewhere in that area. Because I still think they're a pretty good football team, and I think they've got some growth that they're going to go through between last year and this year. You miss the playoffs as the Green Bay Packers, that is a punch in the face, because now everybody's on notice. Everybody's on notice. LaFleur's on notice. Barry's on notice. Everybody's on notice. That last year was unacceptable. The only way you buy yourself any additional time is if, say, Jordan Love is your starting quarterback this year and he goes through growing pains. And then the crosshairs will be more on Brian Gutekunst than they would be on the coaching staff. Because Gutekunst, that's his legacy, man. That's the guy he drafted. That's the monkey wrench he threw into the gears. Instead of picking up another wide receiver or a big time guy that could help this team right away, linebacking or what have you, he went with a quarterback that was not going to play. That was not going to help this team for 3 years. So that's his legacy. So if Jordan Love, a lot of us want to say, well, it's his first year. You got to give him some time. Most people are going to say, look, it's his 4th year. And if Cat isn't getting it by now with preseason, some of the games he's played in and such, he ain't getting it. Because they're just now starting to scheme for him. And if he can't beat the guys that are just now starting to scheme for him, what's he going to do in a couple of years when they're scheming full big time? They've got all his tendencies, all his calls, all his cadences, and now they're coming after him. So we'll see. Matthew says when Love takes over, LaFleur gets an additional 3 years. No, he doesn't. No, he doesn't. If Love takes over and has a decent year this year and they miss the postseason, that maybe buys you a year. But if you've got 2 years of Jordan Love and you miss the playoffs both years, and both years, it looks inept, they're making mistakes, and guys, while they may have Jordan Love's back, but ultimately, guys know where their bread is buttered, and that's on their own play. And if it's not working and they're not winning, no, he does not buy him 3 years. No, he doesn't. He will be out the door. Because they will say, we need somebody else, either one, to come in and develop this guy, or two, to be the guy to come in and develop the next quarterback for the Green Bay Packers. No, Matt LaFleur lost his get-out-of-jail-free card last year. Absolutely. And like I said, James says, Joe Barry's been on notice. LOL, not many people like him, and I think his defenses are going to do better this season than they did last year. But he's on notice. If this team falters and we see, again, a lot of the same things that we saw last year in death by 1,000 cuts when it comes to the defense, poor tackling, poor fundamentals, playing 15 yards off the ball on a 3rd and 6, all that stuff. No. You're gone, man. You cannot have sustained inadequacy and not making it to the postseason year after year in Green Bay. It's unacceptable. They will move on. Guarantee. 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. Hey, our friends at Great Lakes Dragaway reminding you 2023, it's going to start warming up eventually. And the 2023 season passes and the need for speed right there on the website. Go to GreatLakesDragaway.com. That's GreatLakesDragaway.com and get your 2023 season pass. Stay tuned. More of the Bill Michaels Show next.
Ready? This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
Everywhere you look, from groceries to utilities to gas, prices keep going up. Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin can dramatically help lower your energy costs year-round by replacing drafty windows and doors in as little as 6 weeks. And now you can save even more by taking advantage of 0% interest for up to 48 months when you lock in your prices by February 28th. I'm Gina Della from Pella. Bring the love of Wisconsin's outdoors in through the beauty and quality craftsmanship of Pella Windows and Doors. Whether you're updating or upgrading the look and comfort of your home, Pella has extensive lines of customizable options to meet your needs and your budget, no matter the season. Replacing drafty windows and doors can dramatically lower your energy costs. Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin offers some of the most energy efficient windows in the industry, designed to keep the cold outside where it belongs. Lock in your prices by February 28th and get 0% interest for up to 48 months. Visit PellaWI.com.
Certain restrictions apply.
Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
tell you what I'm doing tonight. I'm getting ready. I'm kind of hunkering down. I got a couple of meetings I got to run to after I get off the air today. I got to go down to Kenosha, and I got to go to Racine, and then I'm back. On my way, I'm heading out to Robert's Specialty Meats. I'm going to get myself a little bit of steak, a couple of pork chops, and I'm hunkering down just in case the end of the world comes over the next 72 hours, we'll say. But going to stop down there. I suggest you do the same. If you're in the Waukesha area, they are your hometown butcher. Robert's Specialty Meats Waukesha, whether it's the Al Capone roast or sausages, they have tremendous like steak cut pork chops. They've got just your regular deli meats and deli cheeses and all that kind of stuff as well. But the ribs on a stick, the garlic parm skewers, the chicken skewers, they have all that stuff. Such good stuff. And I've always encouraged people, go down and see everything they have. They have pre-made burgers. You can get bacon cheeseburgers pre-made. You can get pre-made mushroom and Swiss burgers. You can get all that stuff, all pre-made. You can do that. Anything down there. That's Robert's Specialty Meats Waukesha.com on Sunset Drive, Waukesha, and Paul Roberts and his staff. Just spectacular people. Spectacular people. 877-867-1670. If you want to give us a shout, please feel free. Go ahead and do so. Again, 877-867-1670. Going back to the question of what the top 5 needs are, Tom says, got to go with O-line and quarterback. John says quarterback. And then this is Stelly, who says, first, you have to figure out who the quarterback is going to be. Secondly, the offensive line needs to be better. The right tackle position needs to be better. Says that the middle linebacking portion needs to be better as well. Devondre Campbell was okay. Maybe he is what we saw last year rather than what we saw the year before. Quay Walker is a guy running all over the place with his hair on fire. He just can't stop anybody in the run game. They need another middle linebacker. That would be my priority. That's from Stelly, Stelly. Stelly, appreciate it. Good stuff. Tyler says 100% agree they need to take care of the safety position, but it doesn't mean anything if they don't get help for Kenny Clark up front. Appreciate it. Thanks for the note. Again, 877-867-1670. And what else do we have here? This is from Jeff, who says it begins and ends with Aaron Rodgers. Once he makes his decision and whether or not he's going to give money back to the team, then we'll know what they can afford to replace. Therefore, we'll know what they need to go after in the draft. But it all starts with Aaron. When do we expect to hear something from him? Jeff, I've always said, and I know this was over on the Bud Light live stream earlier today as well, said, when is he going to make his decision? What's going to happen? I think, and I've said this, I think he'll make his decision this week, and he is now. We haven't heard anything today. He's not scheduled to be on McAfee today, is he, Ben? I don't think he is. Somebody was telling me yesterday that they said that the McAfee deal was over, and that he is not going to be on McAfee today. I don't know this for a fact, so I'm just kind of repeating what some people had written in the Bud Light live stream yesterday. But I don't think he's on McAfee today. But I could be wrong. So don't bet on that. But I think that he's going to make a decision this week. You're probably going to hear it discussed over the next 2 or 3, 4 days, maybe. Then he'll go into the McAfee show next week. I've said the 28th. Circle that date. That's when you're going to hear him discuss it as what decision there is. As now we're sitting here with franchise tags and such being thrown around out there. So I think you're going to get a decision here in the next few days. So we'll see. Everybody's on vacation this week. Okay. So there you go. At least that's what they're telling me. Scott and NYE 66 and everybody. I guess they're all off this week. There you go. So maybe back at it. That's why I keep saying circle the 28th. We'll find out more then. They're all drinking tea. They're muddying up a beach somewhere. 2 hours down, 2 hours yet to go. More of the Bill Michaels Show coming up next.
This is a Wisconsin Sports Zone update.
Well, it was good news for Giannis Antetokounmpo and the Bucks yesterday. The two-time MVP was in New York for further testing on his injured wrist. According to multiple reports, it was found that it was indeed just a sprain, nothing more serious. While he might miss a few games, he won't be out an extended period. Milwaukee's won 12 straight games. It's just a half game back of Boston for the top spot in the Eastern Conference. They'll return from the All-Star break on Friday when Miami comes to Fiserv Forum. Turn to the Badgers. They got back to work yesterday, putting behind them another tough loss. This one a 58-57 setback to Rutgers over the weekend. Now comes Iowa to Madison tomorrow. Wisconsin looking for a bounce-back effort from freshman Connor Essegian. He went 0 for 10 from the field, 0 for 7 from beyond the arc in the loss to Rutgers. Coach Greg Gard expects Essegian to respond well.
Every elite shooter is going to have one of those days. If you're doing this long enough, you're not going to avoid one of those. And the key is to have a short memory. Right away, you said, yep, I understand it. I'm good. Next one's in. And that's really the mentality every shooter has to have.
Wisconsin comes in 7-9 in Big Ten play, tied for 10th in the conference. Tip is at 8.
For nearly 40 years, ABC of Wisconsin has been helping men and women transform themselves into well-paid, productive members of their construction teams. Today, we have 2,000 active apprentices in 10 different skilled trade programs, and we educate individuals in more trades than anyone else. To get your career started, go to buildyourcareerwi.org or just search online for ABC of Wisconsin.
Well, former Wisconsin defensive coordinator Jim Leonhard is among the candidates for the same job with the Philadelphia Eagles. He has reportedly interviewed for the gig, as have a number of others. And the wait continues for Aaron Rodgers to announce his decision on whether he's going to play next year or not. With this Wisconsin Sports Zone Network update, I'm Zach Kyle Print.
Shall we continue on? Sun shining today. I'm looking out through my Pella windows and doors. A little bit cooler out today. Waiting for the death to hit. I guess it's going to start late tonight and then run all the way through Thursday in the like depending on where you're at in the state of Wisconsin, between 3 and say 8 o'clock, something like that, whatever that window happens to be. And I was just looking at Luke Sampe over on Twitter. Luke Sampe was putting out some of the, and on Facebook too. He was putting out some of this stuff. And Luke, by the way, our guy up in Green Bay, and the models that they have for heavy snowfall in the north of the state, it's just, I guess for lack of a better term, this is going to be a mess. I don't know how else to put it. This is going to be a mess. It's going to be a lot of snow coming. Says the model runs. The model runs are not boding well for the crazy high-end snow amounts that were earlier suggested. I was taught to forecast significant snow based on the low track first, then moisture, then ratio. Beware of crazy high numbers, 12-plus inches for this storm, he says, and then kind of goes on from there. So in the upper half, you pretty much go from like Sheboygan, draw a line straight across the state of Wisconsin, and you go north, and yeah, you're just taking it. I don't even know how else to put it. It just looks going to be ugly.
So that could be bigger than a ruler.
Yeah, there's not going to be a whole lot of ruler posts because it'll be deeper than the actual ruler.
It's a dangerous place to be,
right?
Got to find alternative ways to measure.
Yep. It's
yardsticks. Things of that nature.
Yep. I can. I am getting bakeries all throughout the state of Wisconsin, by the way, that are Punchki friendly, which is, by the way, spelled Paczki, which would look more like Paczki than Punchki, but that's the way it's reportedly pronounced. It was a little difficult for me when I moved to this area, and my mom had always just said, "Are you going to get the donuts?" Now, donuts are different. I get it, but we did celebrate that when we were in when I grew up in Cincinnati. Greeby's Bakery, obviously a big one, national bakery, but I'm getting bakeries from all over the state of Wisconsin that are carrying, and still have, by the way, the Punchkis. So. 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. By the way, right out there in your neck of the woods, Greenbush Bakery, Ben. Greenbush Bakery.
I think I've heard of it.
Yeah. And there's also a place called Bagels Forever, but they say it's a really good bakery. But they say they do the New York style bagels, and that was from Keith, who said, "Hey, if Ben likes the bagels, New York
Oh, I've
style,
been there.
New York
Yes.
style." Okay, Bagels Forever. Okay, there you go.
Actually, do you know who has the best bagels in the world?
Who?
And I don't know.
I don't know.
I don't know how many times people from here have gone up in the eastern part of Canada, but Montreal has the greatest bagels that I've ever had.
Really? What makes them so different? Just the flavor?
No, it's something with the water. It's something with the water that they boiled in it.
Oh, okay. Well, good. Good to know. You're a bagel connoisseur, a world traveler. I like that. Did not know. But they say, yeah, Bagels Forever in Madison. You got to go there, Ben. So apparently you have. So you already know that. There's Shortino's Bakery. I know that one's in Milwaukee because Shortino's has been around forever. Greavy's as well. There's Bloom Bake Shop, which is in Madison. There's Manderfields. I've heard of that in Appleton in the Menasha area. There's one. When I used to go up to Oshkosh, a friend of mine used to go to a place. God, I can't think of the name of it. That was a great bakery. God, if anybody remembers, it's like Carmel. Is it Carmel? Carmel Bakery or something like that, I think is what it was. And then the Eagle Baking up in Eagle River is really, really good. There's a few of them, but beyond that, I don't have my list of bakeries here in front of me. I think it was Carmel or something like that. 877-867-1670. 877-867-1670. Good to have you on board today. This one is from Jackson. Jackson says, "Oh, there's so many bakeries around the state, but there's better beer. Let's talk beer next time." There's so many good craft beers all in the state of Wisconsin. There's a National Beer Day coming up, I'm sure, at some point. What's National Beer Day, Ben? You guys have beer in there all the time in the studio out in Madison.
Yeah, but do you think I know?
Yes.
There are so many things that you've asked me over the last year and a half that I just don't know. But I can look it up and act like I do.
By the way, Friday, April 7th.
I was about to say it.
Were you going to say it? Okay, Friday, April 7th. Oh, mark that down. Friday, April 7th, National Beer Day. National Beer Day, celebrating a day in 1933 that the Cullen-Harrison Act was signed into law, reversing prohibition on selling beer in the United States. National Beer Day, April 7th.
Oh, God. Gerard is tweeting at me. He said, our buddy Gerard from Delaware said, Jersey City, New Jersey has the two best things, the best bagels and the best Italian food in our country. Man, Jersey City,
the Italian food. God, there's so many good Italian. Like I was blessed enough, and I've told this story 1,000 times. I apologize, but I was blessed enough. My uncle Bellafiore owned a 5-star Italian restaurant in Cincinnati, and I grew up in that. So everything I eat is compared to that. And Gino's Calderon Club, downtown Milwaukee, by far one of the best. It's a shame that Joey and the gang from Albanese is going out of business, and they're just selling because it's just time. The family's been in the business so long, but he's got some really good sauce and sausages. There's Campanella's in Cincinnati was always really good too. Campanella's was really good. There's a place also in New York, a little place in it's like in an alley called Bellinopoli, which was the only reason I went there because that was my uncle's restaurant's name. But a little place in New York, right off of Times Square, called Bellinopoli. It's in a little fat guy wearing a beret sits by the when you walk in the door. He sits by the front door. He's usually reading the paper. You sit in those little old tables like grandmother used to have, little metal tables, and it was fantastic right there in New York. So there's so many good places. Then you go out to like San Francisco, and you go into Little Italy. and there's a place called the Stinking Rose. Now, granted, their motto is we like a little food in our garlic, but oh my God, they have some fantastic Italian food out in Little Italy, out there in San Francisco. So a lot of good stuff. Yeah, we can argue that all day too. 877-867-1670. That's the phone number. If you want to get a hold of us, please feel free. By the way, the Brewers, Tyler Naquin, the Brewers and Tyler Naquin, they agreed to a minor league deal. So the Brewers making a couple of moves today, as a matter of fact. Todd Rosiak reporting that. So they also signed, by the way, Luke Voit to a similar deal earlier this morning. Luke Voit, Naquin, both going to give the Brewers some potential power to the lineup if they make the big league team. Luke Voit clubbed 30 home runs and turned in a solid 201 isolated power mark in slugging percentage and such. Naquin, 31, spent parts of 7 seasons in the majors, mostly with Cleveland, who selected him with the 15th overall pick back in 2012. And he's been kind of a 274, 326, 8 are his batting lines against righties. Not good against lefties at all, by the way. And the outfield situation in Milwaukee, still a bit of flux. Yelich locked into left field, but the options over there in center, you got some limited track record. Garrett Mitchell's going to get every opportunity in the world to repeat what he did last year in 68 plate appearances for the Brewers. But, you know, it's going to be a lot of mix out there. Tyrone Taylor is going to be out there as well. They brought in Jesse Winker, but Jesse Winker, you know, he's more DH than he is an outfielder. He's not that great when it comes to playing the field. We all know that. But they got some prospects that they can get out there as well. So they're kind of banking on some of that youth and somebody kind of like a diamond in the rough, just kind of hitting at the right place at the right time. So, which is what they do. But yeah, they have some signings today, some news coming out of Brewers camp, as today is the first day of full team workouts for the Brewers. First day of full team workouts. There you go. This is from Jess. Jess says, hey guys, a great program. What about Norski's? Well, Norski's Nook, I like Norski's Nook more for pie. I'm sure, I don't even know. Does Norski's Nook even do punchkis today? I don't even know if they do. I always see them when I get up into the Rice Lake area. God, I always stop over for breakfast, at least one of those mornings, because I'm usually staying at the Holiday Inn. So I'll stop at Norski's Nook all the time over there for breakfast in the morning. They're fantastic. And then that piece of apple pie is just, you know, you just take it home and do funny things to it and lay around in the bed with it, and that's it. You don't even eat it. It's that good. So, Jess, I completely get it. 877-867-1670. Cheddarball says, did you see that Baseball Prospectus has the Brewers winning the Central at 88-74? I did not see that. 88 wins, I think, is a little adventurous at this point. I'm going to say, now I have not gotten into predictions for baseball or anything like that yet. We're just into full squad workouts for the first time today. But first of all, why would you pick the Brewers to win the division over the Cardinals? Where have the Cardinals gotten weaker? You know what I mean? I mean, not that I really want to get too deep into it, but where have the Cardinals gotten dramatically weaker? And I don't know if you could say that at this point. Cincinnati got a little bit better. I still don't think they're a team that's ready to go. They're banking more so in the next coming couple of years with their minor league system. But no more Yadier Molina. They pick up Wilson Contreras. You still have Goldschmidt, Tommy Edman. You still got Arenado. So tell me, why in the world would you think that? You know, I mean, granted, they're starting pitching. You still, yeah. How old is Adam Wainwright? He's still there, right?
Yeah.
God, he's got to be what?
He's old.
39, 40? Something like that?
I think he's 40.
Is he 40? Okay. Mikolas?
41.
He's 41? Okay. Well, we know Wainwright. I mean, if Wainwright's healthy, he's always been good. But he's got to be really healthy at the age of 41 to be that good. Mikolas is always, for whatever reason, he's always had the Brewers' number. They still have Flaherty. over there. Who else did they have? Wainwright, Mikolas, Flaherty. Who else do they have? I can't think off the top of my head.
Well, they traded for Quintana at the trade deadline.
Right.
From Pittsburgh. They signed Jordan Montgomery.
Montgomery. Thank you very much. Jordan
Or
Montgomery.
they traded for him.
They got him from the Yankees, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So Jordan Montgomery.
And
Thank you very much.
You know, he's fine.
Yeah. So I still think they're pretty good. And who's their closer? Helsley? I think Ryan Helsley, if I remember watching that float around from the MLB Network. I think Helsley. But beyond that, maybe their bullpen is not as great, but they still have some guys in the lineup that can hit. And I still think St. Louis is going to be the team to beat. Brewers, Cubs, Reds, all battling for maybe a 3 or 4 game distance second, and then on from there. Unless the Brewers have some guys, like I said, that you find the diamonds in the rough and guys catch fire. That's kind of where I'm at with Brewers right now. Don't get me wrong. I still think it's an above 500 season, and I think it's an exciting season. I just don't know if they're going to be battling for the top spot in the division. But I will say this: when you go through starting pitching, the Brewers have, I think, the best starting pitching of any team in the National League Central. Now it's what happens after the fact and whether or not they're able to plate a few runs. We'll wait and see. But I don't think the Brewers are. You've got the ability to extend winning streaks and stop losing streaks with this starting group. But what's going to be the question mark is how much do they have really in the pen? And is Devin Williams, now that he's that full-time guy, is he going to be the guy? Will he be the guy, or will they have to go back to finding out, how this is going to work by committee? 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. I mentioned before Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin, and right now at Pella, they got 0% interest for 48 months. 0% interest for 48 when everything else is going up. And I've been talking about this. The economics of everything is going up, and people are screaming right now about their heating and electric bills. And I don't blame you, because I've got friends that have never paid over $150 for their house when it comes to heating and electric, now paying close to $200. It's horrible. And you got to do everything you can to conserve as much energy as you can. And why not put Pella Windows and Doors in your home? With utilities and gas and all those prices going up, Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin, they can dramatically help you lower your energy costs. They can do it right now, right here, today. All you got to do is pick up the phone, 855 Pella WI, 855 Pella WI, or simply go online and go to PellaWI.com. And right now, you can get 0% interest for up to 48 months. 0% interest up to 48 months. All you got to do is call 855 Pella WI or go to PellaWI.com. Whether it's upgrading your windows, upgrading your door, your entryway systems, patio doors, whether you want to beautify your home, make it more economical, add value to it, it all can happen just by picking up the phone and calling our friends at Pella, 855 Pella WI, 855 Pella WI, and take advantage right now. 0% interest up to 48 months from our friends at Pella.
This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
Everywhere you look, from groceries to utilities to gas, prices keep going up. Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin can dramatically help lower your energy costs year-round by replacing drafty windows and doors in as little as 6 weeks. And now you can save even more by taking advantage of 0% interest for up to 48 months when you lock in your prices by February 28th. I'm Gina Della from Pella. Bring the love of Wisconsin's outdoors in through the beauty and quality craftsmanship of Pella Windows and Doors. Whether you're updating or upgrading the look and comfort of your home, Pella has extensive lines of customizable options to meet your needs and your budget, no matter the season. Replacing drafty windows and doors can dramatically lower your energy costs. Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin offers some of the most energy efficient windows in the industry, designed to keep the cold outside where it belongs. Lock in your prices by February 28th and get 0% interest for up to 48 months. Visit PellaWI.com.
Certain restrictions apply.
Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
Career here in the state of Wisconsin. All you got to do is check out our friends over at Pindell, quality machining and manufacturing company right here in our own backyard. And you can get a hold of our friends in Pindell. Go to pindel.com. That's Pindell.com, pindel.com, Pindell.com. Or if you're a company looking for a company you need to work with that can do some quality machining and manufacturing parts, by all means, Pindell, Pindel. Go to Pindell.com. That is Pindell.com. Good stuff. A lot of Brewers stuff now. This is from Gary, who says a lot is said about Christian Yelich, but Willy Adames is the one who needs to right the ship, which I would agree with that. But don't get me wrong, Gary. Willy Adames is not making $29 million a year. That's the reason you hear more about Christian Yelich. And Christian Yelich apparently taking a little bit of a page out of Aaron Rodgers' playbook. He went and kind of disconnected from everything. I don't know where he went. Ben, do you know where Christian Yelich went? It was in the story the other day. I just couldn't remember off the top of my head.
No, I don't.
But he kind of went away. He took, I think it was like about a month. Like just a sabbatical where he just went away, decompressed, worked out, didn't connect with social media at all. I remember he was at a resort, and I even posted this, that he was with some other guys, and the only thing he posted was here to get right or something like that, and then started working out, and then showed all these different workouts. They were like standing out in the driveway, doing ropes and lifting and benching and all that stuff. I mean, they were doing a lot of different stuff in regards to working out. And my first thought was maybe this all kind of gets them right, so to speak. And, hopefully it does. But I know that he was out, kind of disconnected from the world, and he was out trying to, kind of get himself straightened out again. I'll say this, in just what I've seen of him, he looks a little thicker. So he looks like he's been hitting the weights. It looks like he built up his core a little bit. Looks a little thicker. Last year he looked thin, almost like he was sick. When I first saw him last year, was down there on the day after opening day and was down on the field, and he walked past me, and we were just kind of, hey, how you been? Almost looked like he was just thin, like sick thin. And I thought, well, maybe he just got his body right. Some guys like to take down their level of body fat, and they just do some core work. This year, he looks like whatever he did on television, I'm going to have to, but when you see some of these guys and you look at them, it's like, whoa, you look overly thin. You're, the old term is wiry or flexible. That's just another term for being really thin. This year on camera, anyway, from the few scenes that I've seen, I saw that both Fox 6 and CBS 58 were down there, and some of the pictures of him working out already he looks a little bit thicker. So maybe he went away and worked on his core strength in the offseason. Who knows? Dennis says, what about the ridiculous speculation that Jordan Love's going to be the starter and Rodgers is going to be the backup? That's not going to happen. That flat out is 110% will not happen. Period. End of story. Will not happen. Just, I don't even, there's nothing else I can say about it. It's not going to happen. By the way, our buddy Jim Gallo up there at WMAM, our affiliate up in Menominee and Marinette, says Stevenson's Bakery in Menominee, fantastic for the Punchkis. I got to get back up there. I'm going to be heading up that direction this weekend, but we're going over to Pembine, to the Four Seasons Island Resort. So I don't know if I'm going to get down into Menominee and Marinette, but I would love to. I'd love to get over to the winery and such too, but I don't know how much time we're going to have to really get all over the place and move around. This is by our buddy Steve. It says Carmen's in New York City, the best Italian restaurant I've ever been to. Finish dinner off with the homemade tiramisu. Yum. Here's something for you. As one Italian speaking to all Italians, thank you very much. I am not a tiramisu fan. Believe it or not. Now, Kristen gobbles it up. Loves tiramisu. Me, I'm not a tiramisu fan. I've never been really a cheesecake fan until Gino started making that vanilla bean cheesecake down at his place. But I'm just not. Never have been. Never been a tiramisu fan. I'm not a huge coffee fan, so that's part of it. But never been a big. Ben, are you a tiramisu guy?
I don't think I've ever had it.
Really?
So, hard to say.
Okay.
Like if you put a line of desserts in front of me, I don't think I could point out what it is.
Okay. Yeah, I
don't really eat dessert.
You're not a sweets person, are you?
I never want dessert. I don't know.
Yeah, well, then again, you finish a big Italian meal, you probably don't have room for dessert. You passed it up on carbs, you're ready to just unbuckle your pants and go to sleep. So I get it. James says, by the way, up north. Yeah. Love the up north. I'm going up north this weekend. I'm looking forward to it. Gary says, Ben has not had a donut and now doesn't know what tiramisu is? Question mark. Ben's not a sweets guy, man. He didn't know what the Punchkis were. None of that.
Oh, it's the same family of food.
Yeah, it's all in the same area.
I actively despise donuts, but that goes back years and years and years.
Why do you despise donuts? It was like you said I haven't had one since I was 8. I'm like, okay, but I didn't know you despised them.
Yeah, but they're not good. My personal opinion is that they're a waste of what could be a very good bagel. Like, there's no point in having all
you're a bagel
the sugar
snob
and
is
all
what
the
you
cream.
are. Okay.
Just give me, if I'm going to eat carbs, I want a carb.
Okay.
I don't need all the extra fluff and cream inside.
Well, see, when you get good donuts, they're a little bit thicker. Like everybody went crazy when Krispy Kreme started opening up, shops all over the place. And I get it. There's some people that love Krispy Kreme. Understand it. I'm not one of them. They're way overpriced. They're full of more air than they are dough, and they just drench them in the sugar, and that I get. Just no, I can't do it. Not a Krispy Kreme fan. There's a few other donuts that I like. Now, believe it or not, I love the bakery at Quick Trip. I'll go to Quickery Bakery all damn day. So, but there's good bakeries all over. David says, bagel snob. Only thing worse is a wine snob. No. Wine snobs are way up there.
It's not even close.
The wine snobs are way up there.
I just like them. You know, it's not as if you can point out all the different brands and where they come from. Just like the taste of bagels. I will say the problem with donuts, and this is a Jim Gaffigan bit that I loved, but if you go to Dunkin' Donuts and you buy one, it's like $1 or $2. If you buy 5, it's like 75 cents. And by the time you get up to buying 40 donuts, they're pretty much paying you to take them.
Right.
How little it costs to buy in bulk.
Right.
I see some issue with that.
Nope.
They're just trying to get rid of them.
No, but they're good. Dunkin' Donuts are good. They're not part of great Gary. You're right. They're not part of the diet. I'll tell you that. I that's why I don't have any. That today is the day that I'm glad I don't work in a studio, because I miss the interaction of say salespeople walking in, marketing people walking in, and all that kind of stuff. I love. But today's that kind of a day where you kind of go, I work kind of from home, and my buddy Jim Lombardo used to send me stuff on every holiday, and he doesn't send me crap anymore. And I used to get the donuts, and I used to get the punchkis, and we used to get all the bobbleheads, so you miss that stuff. But today's the day where it's like I'd be eating that stuff. It was here in front of me. I'd have to start pushing it away. So today's the day I'm glad I don't work in an office. By the way, Mickey Lou's, you're right. Thomas says, what about Mickey Lou's and Marinette? Oh, Mickey Lou's. Good burger. Oh, yeah. They got Colonel K's pasty. Are you a pasty fan, Ben? You know what pasties are, right?
No, I don't. Should I? Like
pasties are like no, not pasties, you goof. My buddy just texted me. He said, what about pasties? No, pasties. Not pasties. Pasties, we know what pasties are. Those are nipple covers. They're like yarmulkes for nipples. No, pasties are like a meal. You got potatoes and ground beef and all this stuff in like a dough, which I don't know what the difference between a pasty and a pierogi are, but they're similar. That I couldn't tell you. But just we're down a whole rabbit hole here, man. I don't know what else to say. We're down a rabbit hole of food. I'm getting hungry.
You just did 30 minutes on bakeries.
Right? We're down James says pasties like boobies, like booby tassels. Now we're talking. Okay, now he wants to listen to the program. Great. Okay. Right. On that note, we gotta take a break because we're going down a whole rabbit hole here. Let's take a quick break. Got more of the Bill Michaels Show coming up next.
Covering Wisconsin sports like a blanket. This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
They say the sky's the limit, but why stop there? This February at Potawatomi Casino Hotel, you can reach for the stars. Each Thursday night, if the stars align, you could reach for a piece of $400,000 in cash and prizes. Just play with your club card to earn entries 3 times on drawing days. Your win is written in the stars. Just play to find it. Only at Potawatomi. Visit paysbig.com/stars for more. Must be 21 years old and a club member to play.
Bill Michaels will resume in 5 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 4 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
Welcome back. Hey, if you are looking for good, authentic music when it comes to Irish music, our friends at the Irish Cultural and Heritage Center, which is right there on Wisconsin Avenue in Milwaukee, they got a lot of good stuff coming up. Cassie and Maggie on February 22nd, Cynthian on March 3rd, Cormier and Gunning on March 4th. Lunasa on March 5th, April 20th. Jig Jam is going to be taking place. David Howley coming on the 21st. Fraser and Haas on the 23rd. They have a ton of music coming up over at the Irish Cultural and Heritage Center. And if you are looking for tickets, 414-345-8800. Get a hold of our buddy Corey over there, 414-345-8800. But if you have not seen the place, go to ICHC.net. And if you were looking to, say you're looking for a wedding venue, or if you're looking for a reception venue or a meeting venue, or you teach dance and you need a big space to, maybe get your students together once a week, whatever it happens to be, they have got it. The Irish Cultural and Heritage Center, ICHC.net. That is ICHC.net. Again, ICHC.net. So there you go. James says, what do you think about Jim Leonhard interviewing for the Philadelphia Eagles job? Is open. I like it. I mean, unless the Packers, for whatever reason, call him up late and say, hey, Jim, we'd rather have you here. I'd love to see Jim Leonhard back in the NFL. To be perfect. I mean, to me, I love to see him back. Ben, being a Philadelphia Eagles fan, are you a fan of Jim Leonhard if he indeed gets the job and goes to Philly?
Oh, I'm giddy about it. I love the news. I tweeted during the Super Bowl that they should hire Jim Leonhard, but that was during my grieving stage when I was trying to tweet through all my emotional pain. But I think it'd be perfect. He runs a lot of what their previous defensive coordinator was running, at least that general theme. The personnel's great. I think it'd be a good way for him to set up whatever move is next,
right?
Whether it's back to college or if he wants to rise in the ranks in the NFL. The tough part, obviously, is the cutthroat nature of being a coordinator, kind of like in Green Bay with defensive coordinators. Being a defensive coordinator in Philadelphia has not proven to be a very long-term job over the years. But I mean, he's excelled at everything he's done.
Right.
So I can't really see him failing because he hasn't failed yet at anything.
Right.
So I would love it.
Me personally, I just would love to see him back in the league. What would be a kick to the gonads is if he goes into Philadelphia this season and Philadelphia's defense gets even better and the Packers remain the same or get worse. Because then it would be just like, gut punch. Just a gut punch. You know what I mean? So I get it. I would love to see Jim Leonhard back in the league. I think we all would. But yeah, it would be a gut punch if he has a ton of success. Now, if the Packers play well, then I guess it eases the blow. But if Philadelphia gets even better and they find themselves back in a Super Bowl and that defense gets even better, and yeah, boy, that would be oof.
I mean, they do have better players, for the record.
Well, they do. I would agree with that, but okay. But remember, that's only if they bring back Linval Joseph and Ndamukong Suh, and they got some drafting to do up front. But let's be honest, they do have better players. But let's say that defense gets even better, and it's not just the running capability and throwing capability of Jalen Hurts that gets them there. That this defense gets even more tenacious. Their sack totals go up. I mean, when you start to look at what the numbers were this year, they were only 5.5 sacks short of matching the Bears' all-time sack record. Now, granted, there's an extra game in there. I understand that, but still, I mean, there's something to be said for the numbers they were putting up this season and being one of the better defenses out there. So the fact that they then would get better under Jim Leonhard, from where they were, that would be one of those oh my goodness moments in which you'd kind of look northward and go, guys, you kept Joe Barry. The defense got worse. And meanwhile, the guy that, was sitting here in your own backyard, maybe out of spite, you didn't call him because he turned you down before. Instead of taking another shot at him, instead he goes over to Philadelphia and they get even better. That would be the don't walk into work the next day without wearing a cup type of moment up in Green Bay.
Yeah,
that certainly would be. But we would wish. Now, he doesn't have the job as of yet. There's been no announcement made that he's got the job, but they've
interviewed 8 guys.
Right.
So they're still in the process.
How about Rex Ryan? Rex Ryan going to Denver. How about that? I thought Rex was done. I didn't think he'd go back into coaching, but Rex is, and I'll tell you this, Rex, he's a hell of a defensive mind. And he's a rah-rah, kind of in your face, much like his dad was kind of guy, old school. Not that Denver needs, because their defense wasn't bad, It just wasn't great, and their offense was horrible. And I'll say this, Rex is just another voice in that locker room to tell Russell Wilson to get his head out of his ass. But, man, that's a big get for them, in my opinion. Even though he is a lot of bravado, I understand that. But getting Rex Ryan, he's a hell of a defensive mind, that's for sure. And I think he would make a good defensive coordinator. I mean, everybody looks at Vic Fangio, and Vic Fangio, as good as he is. Now, he went to where? Miami? He's in Miami now?
Yeah.
So he's in Miami. Rex Ryan comes out of the broadcast situation on Get Up and being a Monday morning analyst over on the Get Up show on ESPN. And now he moves out to Denver. Some of the new coaches are old school. That's the direction some of these teams are going. 877-867-1670. Find us. Go ahead and give us a shout. Want to chime in? Feel free. Go ahead and do so. This one is, by the way, from Brian, who says the top two things this team needs are offensive line and a quarterback. You got to figure things out on that front before anything else is really going to matter. I don't think your offensive line, I don't think it's as, at least my opinion is, I don't think it's as bad as what some people are kind of biting their nails over for the Packers. I really don't. I look at this. If you keep Bakhtiari, okay, you have Bakhtiari, who when he played, he looked good. So you have Bakhtiari, Elton Jenkins, Josh Myers, John Runyon at your right guard position. And as much as you liked what you saw out of Zach Tom, if you make Yosh Nijman, who is a bigger, versatile version, if you go with Yosh Nijman as your right tackle and just make that his position, switch him over, I think he's fine. He was back and forth and back and forth and back and forth, remember. I think then it becomes stable. And you still have Zach Tom as a backup. You'll still have Sean Ryan. You'll still have Royce Newman. You'll still have Rasheed Walker. I don't know who, Caleb Jones. I'm forgetting about Caleb Jones, even though he was a college free agent last year. If that guy ever amounts to anything, that dude is a mountain of a human being. I mean, you got Sherpas and goats going up his backside just to get over top of him. That dude is huge. He reminds me a lot of Phil Lodeholt out of Minneapolis. So they've got some depth. I think you could draft one more lineman, but I don't think it's the big priority that some people think it is. So we'll see. 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. Let's go to the phone calls. Talk to our buddy Steve in De Pere. Steve, how you doing today, man? What's going on?
Hey, Bill. Hey, good afternoon. Appreciate you're back on the show. Calling back for the first time. Missed you.
Great.
Love your renewed energy and calling balls and strikes, man. I love it. And it seems like you got some good connections in 1265 also.
I don't care.
Well, no, because I got best friends that are sports writers in Green Bay, and you've hit the nail on the head a couple times, and they were clueless. So, anyways,
I appreciate it.
Yep, you got it. So, Jim Leonhard, I'm just an average, sports fan. I played sports, not football, but how the heck can Bill Michaels Sports and other sports shows be on the spot? One, that's my first point, with Joe Barry just not getting a clue. Jair Alexander calling him out after the first game of the year when he couldn't go one-on-one with Jefferson. And then now my question to you is, Matt LaFleur is going to not be able to sleep every night, I'm guessing, if Joe Barry's face is stuck in the sand again, right?
Mm-hmm. No, I completely agree. I said that Joe Barry is your get-out-of-jail-free card. You already used it up, and if Joe Barry does not perform, and you kept him, and remember, Brian Gutekunst kind of separated himself from that, basically saying, look, the talent's here, and that some of the things the defense did, they didn't necessarily support the offense and vice versa, but the talent is here. So if he says the talent's here, the only other thing that Brian Gutekunst is saying is the coaching is not. And if the coaching is not here, that means that Joe Barry's not here, and that means that Matt LaFleur basically hitched his wagon to that guy. I agree with you.
Yeah, no, 100%. I think Jim Leonhard's smart enough to adapt to his defense and the players, and it's not going to take him 12 weeks to do it on a second year on top of it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I don't know. I sit there and scratch your head. And you guys, you guys on the radio are, it's like, come on. How does Joe Barry not figure this out? Maybe he needs to listen to your show on podcast and record it or something. But just another compliment. You guys are ahead of the curve. Love the show, and thanks for the time.
All right, buddy. Appreciate it, man. He drops off. You get on board 877.
Don't tackle live at any point.
You never tackle live. You just watch people run past you. That's what you do. Stay tuned. We got more of the Bill Michaels Show coming up next.
Covering Wisconsin sports like a blanket. This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
Everywhere you look, from groceries to utilities to gas, prices keep going up. Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin can dramatically help lower your energy costs year-round by replacing drafty windows and doors in as little as 6 weeks. And now you can save even more by taking advantage of 0% interest for up to 48 months when you lock in your prices by February 28th. I'm Gina Della from Pella. Bring the love of Wisconsin's outdoors in through the beauty and quality craftsmanship of Pella Windows and Doors. Whether you're updating or upgrading the look and comfort of your home, Pella has extensive lines of customizable options to meet your needs and your budget, no matter the season. Replacing drafty windows and doors can dramatically lower your energy costs. Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin offers some of the most energy efficient windows in the industry, designed to keep the cold outside where it belongs. Lock in your prices by February 28th and get 0% interest for up to 48 months. Visit PellaWI.com.
Certain restrictions apply.
Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
Welcome back to the program. Good to have you. Mardi Gras specials everywhere. Getting jazzy, as a matter of fact, at Boondocks Barbecue Burgers and Brews. Today, it begins their Mardi Gras week, and they've got a specialty menu fit for a king, as they say, so let the good times roll. Double bonus, by the way, it's Taco Tuesday, so they still have that there, too. So you got the Mexitastic favorites, but they've got a lot of good stuff ready. Blackened shrimp deviled eggs, blackened grouper, po' boy. They've got muffaletta sandwiches, chicken and sausage gumbo, all kinds of good stuff, and Taco Tuesday. So you cannot go wrong if you're heading out to Boondocks Barbecue Burgers and Brews today. County Road K in Oconomowoc. Check it out. And good stuff out there. Go out and say hi to Tim and Stacy and everybody working. It's a little bit coming up. Barbecue Burger. County Road K, Stone Bank, technically, but out in Wisconsin. Really, really good. 877-867-1670. Wendell says, was today's signings by the Brewers the big deals we've been waiting for? He says that with hashtag sarcasm. Yeah, they're just, again, it's okay. I mean, they're just throwing darts at a dartboard. And if something sticks, you get one guy, two guys that stick and they're really good, or they outperform, they get that opportunity where they're every day, who knows? I don't know. I'm just, I still think you're really relying upon Tyrone Taylor, Christian Yelich, and Garrett Mitchell. Garrett Mitchell, you're biting your nails. You're praying to God that he's not Keston Hiura, that he picks up where he left off from last year, that he's the real deal. He's been ripened. He's sharpened. He's ready to go. Here you go. Bam. You're hoping that's the guy. Okay. And that Garrett Mitchell's able to roam center field and just be the man. And that Tyrone Taylor, all of his time toiling away, that he's there. You're hoping for that as well. But if it's not, and Yelich is not better than what he's been, then I don't care what you do. I don't care what kind of pitching you got. You're still going to struggle. So we shall see. 877-867-1670. Nishan says, as an outsider looking in, he says, I'm from your original stomping grounds in the Queen City. What do people in the area think of Luke Fickell and what he's done? Ben, I would say, and I said this yesterday, that I think the excitement, the last time I remember this kind of talk and chatter and excitement about Badger football, I don't even think it was this way back during the Big Ten championship games when they were facing off against Ohio State. The last time I remember was when they beat Ohio State. I think Brett Bielema was the head coach, and both teams were coming into that game out of Camp Randall, I think undefeated. And the Badgers knocked off the Buckeyes. I think that was the last time I heard this much excitement and chatter about Badger football in a long time. Would you not agree?
I think it's hard to say because they haven't played a game yet.
But the excitement and the talk about it is out there. It's real. It's palpable.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, they were the number 4 team in the country entering 2018.
Yeah.
So I don't know how it compares, honestly, but it is. The excitement is high.
The excitement is there. I don't think there's any doubt about it. But thanks for listening from the stomping grounds, so to speak. Let's do this. We got another hour yet to go. Good stuff today. A lot of stuff today. A lot of different stuff today. Good. Going to go ahead and take a quick break. We're going to come back. Another hour. You and I, everybody on the Bud Light live stream, listening everywhere, throughout parts unknown. More of the Bill Michaels Show next.
An update. Well, it was good news for Giannis Antetokounmpo and the Bucks yesterday. The two-time MVP was in New York for further testing on his injured wrist. According to multiple reports, it was found that it was indeed just a sprain, nothing more serious. While he might miss a few games, he won't be out an extended period. Milwaukee's won 12 straight games. It's just a half game back of Boston for the top spot in the Eastern Conference. They'll return from the All-Star break on Friday when Miami comes to Fiserv Forum. Turn to the Badgers. They got back to work yesterday, putting behind them another tough loss. This one a 58-57 setback to Rutgers over the weekend. Now comes Iowa to Madison tomorrow. Wisconsin looking for a bounce-back effort from freshman Connor Essegian. He went 0 for 10 from the field, 0 for 7 from beyond the arc in the loss to Rutgers. Coach Greg Gard expects Essegian to respond well.
Every elite shooter is going to have one of those days. If you're doing this long enough, you're not going to avoid one of those. And the key is to have a short memory. Right away, you said, yep, I understand it. I'm good. Next one's in. And that's really the mentality every shooter has to have.
Wisconsin comes in 7-9 in Big Ten play, tied for 10th in the conference. Tip is at 8.
For nearly 40 years, ABC of Wisconsin has been helping men and women transform themselves into well-paid, productive members of their construction teams. Today, we have 2,000 active apprentices in 10 different skilled trade programs, and we educate individuals in more trades than anyone else. To get your career started, go to buildyourcareerwi.org. Wisconsin.
Jim Leonard is among the candidates for the same job with the Philadelphia Eagles. Has reportedly interviewed for the gig, as have a number of others. And the wait continues for Aaron Rodgers to announce his decision on whether he's going to play next year or not. With this Wisconsin Sports Zone Network update, I'm Zach Heil.
Good to have you, the Bill Michaels Show. We are up and rocking. We're having a good time today. We did not intake a ton of calories today via the Punchkis, but I got a buddy of mine, Ricky, just took a picture of the Punchki box on Fat Tuesday. He's got 2 lemons left, lemon Punchkis, and that's it. The box of 24 are gone, and the only 2 that were left in the box were lemons. I've never been a big fan of the lemon Punchkis. Now, Ben, you don't even know what the hell a Punchki was before yesterday, so you can't even say you're a fan or not a fan. He did.
I like lemons.
Well, these are lemon. They got like a lemon icing on top and a lemon stuffing in them.
Ugh.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm out.
Like an lemon icing stuffed in
That
it.
just doesn't hit the palate well.
No,
I don't think.
No.
But if you compare that to prunes, I would take lemons.
Oh, I'll take that all damn day. Yeah, I'll take the
But it
lemons.
sounds like he got into the prune stuff.
But
So,
no, by
best
the
of
way,
luck.
he texted me. He said the one that's not in the box is the prune, and the prune was one bite and left on a plate. Left on a plate in the conference room.
So putting those in the box is like it's like when every fast food place in the world puts a pickle with a burger.
Yeah.
And I hate pickles, but it also just completely ruins the taste of the burger because it butts up against the bun and then it makes the bun taste like pickles.
Wow.
I feel like that's what putting the prune stuff into the big box does.
I see. I don't mind pickles. And as a matter of fact, that's the one thing that I do like in a Bloody Mary is a pickle. So I'll do the pickle and the cheese. The rest of it you can kind of hang on to. But I don't
I'm
mind
anti
the pickles.
Bloody Mary too.
Are you
it's
really?
never
What
tasted
the hell
good.
is wrong with you?
It's never tasted good
I'll
to
say
me.
this though. I didn't get into Bloody Marys until I was in my 40s. I didn't.
Right.
I agree with you. So you probably will change your palate in 20 years.
Maybe.
I'll be dead by then. So dig me up and let me know. But yeah, let me know just wherever I'm buried or whatever. Whatever I am at that point. Come over and bring a Bloody Mary. And go, you changed my mind. I got you. But yeah, I was never a Bloody Mary fan until maybe, I don't know, 42, 43 years old, 44, something like that. And that's what everybody did here. Now, I moved here when I was 32. So it's, I'm now 56. So I was 32 years old when I moved to Wisconsin. But yeah, I wasn't a big Bloody Mary fan, but that's what everybody did here. And then really what hooked me was Stenny's. When I went to Stenny's, because everybody kept telling me how great Stenny's are. So I said, okay, I'll give it a shot. Because I was never like a V8 fan or anything like that. And they said, oh, no, you got to try this. And I did. And they converted me. And now what's really bad is, though, when I do Bloody Marys all around the state, as I do all these different travels and stuff, there's some Bloody Marys are like, what do you think? And it's like, oh, it's pretty good. You got that smile on your face like you just smelled somebody else's fart. It's good. Yeah, it's good. Yeah. And you're just thinking to yourself, this is, I can't wait to get rid of this. This is bad. But there's some Bloody Marys that they make great. Zing Zang, Jimmy Loves are all good right out of the bottle, and you can just add your vodkas to it and a little bit of spice to it, and you're good to go. But the people that overdo it, there's a couple of places. Now, I have to admit, I've only had one Sobelman's Bloody Mary. Sobelman's is the one where you get like a whole chicken on it. You get a chicken and a burger.
You get a chicken in the Bloody Mary?
No, it's this big mason jar. And you know how like Bloody Marys, they'll stick a, across the top, they'll lay a pickle. And then on that skewer is cheese and mushrooms and, a thing of asparagus and whatever. I mean, whatever else they do that.
Which I don't get, by the way. Like, do people eat that stuff or is it just there to look good?
See, some of it's there to look good. I'll eat the cheese and the pickle. I like both of those. The rest of the stuff, I'm not a big
mushrooms,
fan of. Mushrooms aren't bad, but it's not something that I would just sit down and go, okay, this is what I got to have. But Sobelman's, there's there's places that put whole pizzas on them. They put like this big stick hanging out of the thing. There's like a whole chicken on there, a whole like burgers, sliders. I mean, it's like a meal. It's like you order the Bloody Mary. It's like $35-$40, I guess. I have no idea how much it is, but it's got this whole meal on it, like a whole chicken, burgers, pizzas, all that stuff. That's all that stuff's on there. So there's some good Bloody Marys in up near Tomahawk too, that I've had a couple of different supper clubs and stuff like that. Gone in there and didn't really want to sit down and drink, but you had to do a Bloody Mary in the morning or Bloody Mary in the evening. The VFW Hall at in downtown Tomahawk, they do good Bloody Marys in the morning. I also go there for the Jello shots, but not bad. There you go. So man. So you're not a Punchki guy, not a donut guy, not a tiramisu guy, not a Bloody Mary guy. You do drink beer, that I do know.
Yeah. So everything you named, it's not as if they're all mainstream things. Like, I guess some
Bloody Marys are mainstream as mainstream gets.
For people older than myself.
Yeah.
And some people my age drink them. I think it tastes like crap. So if I'm going to get drunk, I might as well get drunk off something that tastes good.
Yeah, and again, I understand that because you gotta. It starts out to be an acquired taste. You got to do it that way. I wasn't a big fan of it. Like growing up, my mom, oh my God, she loved like V8, tomato juice. Now she wasn't a big drinker when it came to Bloody Marys, but V8 to start your day. Oh my God, it would be scrambled eggs or eggs and hash browns, whatever, and then boy, a little bit of teriyaki sauce in there or whatever the hell she put in that thing, and V8 every day. My mom had a glass of that stuff every day, all the time. Yep. Then there's but yeah, like Sobelman's puts like a whole chicken on it. I'm getting people that are sending me pictures now of Sobelman. Yeah, just look it up. Just Google it. Google Sobelman.
It's a
Bloody
chicken
Mary
on a stick.
It's basically
it's a kebab.
Yeah, it's a
chicken kebab on a Bloody Mary.
But still, the best Bloody Marys come from Stenny's.
Huh.
The biggest ones with the most are Sobelman's, and then everybody else kind of trickles down behind that. So there you go. We've been off on some really weird tangents today, haven't we? Started off with my buddy sending me.
You're all hopped up on National Punchki.
I am, but I've got people sending me pictures now. I got people sending me empty boxes. Said I brought them in at 9. By 9:30, there was nothing left, and the box contained 32 of them. I'm like, well, how many employees you have? He's like 4.
Oh, that's disturbing.
That is. It is.
Like, come on.
It's funny. And then the ones that are left in his box were 2 lemons, and on a plate with one bite out of it was the prune. He said that they took a bite out of it.
I respect that, though. Send a message.
But that is when you get the variety pack. You go in to the bakery and you just say, I'll take the variety pack or whatever. You get the variety pack. That's the bad surprise. It's kind of like when you get the box of candy at Valentine's Day, and some of it is, good chocolate. Some of it is like a turtle. Some of it, then you get that coconut thing, which I'm allergic to coconut, so I can't have those things anyway. but you do the coconut thing, and then you're like, oh, I got the almond joy. Ugh, nobody likes that. And then you take a bite out of it, and they set it there. Or the one with the liquefied cherry in it. That's no good either, you know? So that's kind of it. That's the Punchki box. You get, the chocolate one's really good. The sugar-covered one, really good. The raspberry, really good. The cherry, really good. I got a blueberry one. Oh, this is really, really good. Oh, who got the prune? Oh, you're over there gagging. The prune gets set down, and people are wiping their tongue off, down the road. There you go. 877-867-1670. Hit us up, 877-867-1670. Let's go to the phone calls. Talk to Market Plunger. Market Plunger, what's going on, man? How you doing today?
Oh, thanks for taking the call.
You bet.
I instead of I'm not going to complain about people complaining about Aaron Rodgers today. I'm going to I've been wanting to do this for a few days, but I keep something comes up when I get on the phone. But anyway, I just want to say that I don't listen to normally like sports radio or anything. I listen to Ebo and those guys sometimes when I'm driving. And I listen to you, but the reason why is because it's so ridiculous. It's so sensational. And you guys, Ebo before you, and you guys are very appreciative. Or when something's nonsense, you say it could be nonsense. I just admit, I appreciate it.
Yeah.
From somebody that doesn't like to hear any of this stuff, but does like to listen to good conversation, I appreciate it.
No, I appreciate that, man. Thanks so much. We try to keep it real best we can anyway.
Yeah, you guys are good.
All right,
Very
buddy.
good.
Appreciate it. He drops off. You get on board, 877-867-1670. Brandon says, please tell me Ben's had an old fashioned.
Oh, I love old fashions.
There you go. You're back into the great state of Wisconsin, Ben.
That's what I've adopted. If I can go through all the things that I've adopted as lifestyle choices since living here, the Wisconsin thing is the old fashioned. I cannot get enough of them.
Okay, there you go.
They're incredible.
There you go. Old fashions I like too.
The problem is I go back to Philly and they stink. I love one and it's horrible.
You cannot. I will agree with that. Now there's a place called Jim and Jack's down in Cincinnati, kind of where I grew up. They used to serve really good old fashions, kind of like up here. But beyond that, there's not many places outside of the state. And then you can get them different. You get them sweet or sour or whatever. You can get different types of old fashions. And outside of Wisconsin, nobody knows what the hell they're making. They don't know. They just kind of read it in a book and go, oh, okay. And they don't know it. And they don't muddle it right. And I agree with you. Once you get outside of the state, there's only one place that I knew that was a place called Jim and Jack's. And it's out on River Road down in Cincinnati. It's a nice bar, but in a really not the best of areas, but it's where my dad used to go dancing all the time. But they were the only ones that, going back to Ohio, that knew how to make an old fashioned. Otherwise, people just look at you like you got six heads. No.
All right. When I find myself in Cincinnati, I'll be sure to make it.
Oh, well, usually if you end up in Cincinnati, most likely, unless you're passing through or you're doing a layover via a flight, it's probably going to be, hanging out with us. And then we're going to go to Skyline, go down to Jim and Jack's, get an old fashioned. Something like that. Maybe catch a Brewers and a Reds game, or maybe if the Packers are playing Cincinnati down there or something like that, we can do that. Or maybe maybe if Luke Fickell, maybe he keeps his old team in mind and he schedules Cincinnati on the out of schedule docket, and they end up going and playing a game at Nippert Stadium. We could always do that.
I would enjoy that. This doesn't matter at all, but my fantasy football league with my friends from school, we're talking about the punishment for the losers, because we each dual own a team, should be to go to a Reds game in mid-June against like the Pirates when there are 13 people in the stadium.
Yeah.
And then drink a hot dog, eat a hot dog, excuse me, and drink a beer every inning. So nine beers, 9 hot dogs at a Reds game in Cincinnati.
Here's what you do.
That's the punishment.
This is what you do, although it wouldn't be punishment. Not eat a hot dog, but they serve Skyline at the ballpark. You could eat actually a Coney.
How many toilets do they have over there?
At that point,
enough?
At that point in time, not enough. Well, I mean, considering
I guess there are 15
there's only
people at the
15
game.
people there. Yeah, you pretty much have your own private one. The best portion of that game right there, to be honest with you, being said, is to not even go to the game, just go into the stadium, have the beer vendor come into the bathroom and just serve you the beer and the hot dog and the Skyline and stuff right there in the bathroom. Just stay there for 9 innings. After you hear everybody cheer and the game's over and the fireworks go off, leave. You're drunk, your colon's cleaned out, you're on your way home. Hell, you're good to go. Take your Uber back to your hotel. It's a fantastic day. Although Skyline will be the best part of it. I love Skyline chili. Anything else? I think we need a road trip, man. And I'm not just talking to Viroqua for the Bill Michaels Open, which is, by the way, coming up in March. In May. The first weekend in May. So if you haven't gotten signed up for that yet, it's not a huge tournament, by the way. It's not like it's, 40 or 50 teams. I mean, it's like 10, 20 teams tops. So if you're not signed up for that coming up, you got to get a hold of our friend Ernie out there in Viroqua, and Ernie will point you in the right direction. Get signed up for the Bill Michaels Open, the first Bill Michaels Open, and it's in the illustrious town that is Viroqua. Maybe we'll do the pregame party down at the Kickapoo Creek side or something like that. Go down there and eat. Not a bad way to go. And then you drive up Bend. You can stay the night, enjoy yourself some beverages, get yourself an old fashioned on a Friday, and play golf on Saturday. How about that, huh?
Oh, it sounds wonderful. I hope my game is good by then. I don't want to.
If it's not, they've got enough trees to tell you it's not. I'll tell you that.
Or help.
They've got the backside of that course, man. They've got some trees back there. So if your golf game's good in the front, that's fine. But in the back, boy, oh boy, you're going to owe them a lot of money in landscaping. That's for damn sure. Let's do this. We're going to go ahead and take a quick break. We're going to come back. We got a lot more to get to. Hang in there. More of the Bill Michaels Show coming up next.
Ready? This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
before you know it, I'm talking about summer, warm weather, possibly heading out on the water. Unless, of course, you don't have a boat. You don't have a boat. You need a boat, which means you call our friends over there at Skipper Buds. Get a hold of Todd and the gang at Skipper Buds, and they can get you in new. They can get you in used. If you're looking, say you've got a little bit of gauge, you're looking for that yacht, they've got it. Pontoons, got it. Sport and deck boats, got it. Fishing boats, got it. They have the best in water sports, the best in jet boats, cruisers, Four Winds, Mastercraft, Taiga. Taiga's beautiful. Mastercraft, both of those ski boats are fantastic. Scarab, Starcraft, Smoker Craft, do a little fishing. Good stuff and great service. My buddy Ryan's service is absolutely awesome. But get a hold of Todd, 262-544-1200, 262-544-1200, 262-544-1200, and see what they have to offer, because Skipper Buds, they are your on-the-water place to be when it comes to summer fun. And, you know, anything else you need when it comes to accessories and such, too. Get you out there and get you out there right. So there you go. 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. You want to find us, please feel free. Hit us up. This is from Mike. Mike says, hey, guys, first of all, best Bloody Mary. He says, I have to agree with you. It's down at Stenny's. I've had that. Right. There you go. He also says, in regards to the Milwaukee Brewers, I think this is going to be one of those years where if they get a couple of guys that hit, it'll be successful. And if they miss, it is going to be a fire sale at the trade deadline. He also says, I think the priority right now in Green Bay is to get themselves a safety. Since Adrian Amos is most likely gone, you need to find that captain of the defense. Appreciate the email. Thank you very much. That's from Mike. JD says, hey, Unit, I'm a retired cop. I contemplated probably 3 years before I finally made the decision. A big portion of coming to the final decision was most of the cops I could relate to had already left. Yes, I stuck around, gave the new cops some advice, did a lot of training with them, and got along with a lot of them really well. But it just wasn't the same. The job just became less fun, more stressful because I was an older man, and I really got tiresome of being constantly asked when I was leaving. So in a small way, I can relate to what Rogers is wanting right now, some of the old-timers back, and his hesitation on retirement. You know what? First of all, JD, I'm glad you do what you do, or did what you did. But I don't know. I always think about players when it comes to retirement is the competitive fire. Do you believe you can still be the best or great? Do you believe your team still has a shot to win? Because if you're going to come back and you don't believe you have a shot at a championship, I got to think that older players are just like, man, what am I doing? I'm beating myself up. I'm going through the physical rigors. I could possibly get really banged up. And for what? Unless you have a ton of money on the table and you're like, you know what? I do this 1 year and I'm done for life. My family's set up for life. I can do whatever I want. I can buy that extra house. I can do whatever. Then you can come back for that. But you're coming back for the wrong reasons, but you still can come back for that. But if you're not coming back to win a championship, what are you doing? You know, that's why you give so much credit to a guy like Joe Thomas, who had the ability to leave Cleveland and never did, and still came back and played at that incredibly high level. I mean, you look at Joe Thomas and you're just like, wow, that guy you talk about just being your best, being the consummate professional, gutting it out, all of that. That's man, oh man, oh man. You give that guy all kinds of credit. 877-867-1670. Steve says Aaron Rodgers came out of the darkness, saw a shadow of a sports writer, and now getting 6 more weeks of ego. Steve. All right. Appreciate it.
That would be quite the career turn if you think about it.
What's that?
What if Rodgers somehow retires, which I don't think he will, but what if he does? And then 3 years from now, we see him emerge as one of the leading commentary voices in NFL media circles, where he kind of takes the guise of all of the talking heads.
Do you think he would do that?
No way in the world.
I think it would be unbelievably.
I don't think he would enjoy it. He doesn't strike me as that person.
I agree with that, but yeah, just man. Unless he was the way you would explain, he would explain it away as that he is the voice of reason.
the different voice. You know what I mean? Then I'll be in the media, but I'm going to be in the media because I'm the different voice of reason, as opposed to those media members that are out there.
The problem is, in order to make it, usually, if you're an NFL guy and you're not Brady and you go to the booth, is you have to do what LaShawn McCoy is doing right now. He goes on all the Fox Sports shows and just says outlandish things, and then people pick it up.
Right.
And then now he gets more time there to respond to the outlandish things he said. It's a beautiful cycle.
And, well, then don't forget, I mean, like, let's say, like Tony Romo. And Tony Romo is such an interesting cat. I hate to get off topic here, but when you talk about next season, Tony Romo, who is the lead analyst for CBS, was basically called under the carpet for his embarrassing performances over the last year and just not doing his homework. He's just showing up for games. And he's not anywhere near what he was when he first came into the league. And he's just kind of getting by. So a few years ago. So I'm going to be really interested to see how Tony Romo, for the first couple of weeks of the season, when he knows he's got certain games the first couple of weeks, he'll do the work. After that, you wonder, say, week 8, 9, 10, 12, where's Tony Romo's game then? Is he still doing all the film study? Is he still looking at all the different games and still talking to the coaches and players? From what I understand, it used to be, they used to show up, whether it was Fox or CBS or whomever, they would show up on Friday, flying on Friday or maybe even on Thursday, watch some of the practice, and then they get to sit down on Saturday, either Friday or Saturday, with the coaches and the players, whoever it is they chose. And a lot of that now is done via Zoom. They don't even do it in person anymore. They don't even fly into like the night before the game or something. They fly in, they go to dinner, they do a little work in their hotel room, and then they go to the game. They don't even do it the way you used to do it anymore. I mean, just COVID changed it, so they don't. A lot of those guys don't even. They do Zoom, and I'm like, how do you do that? How do you? When you're sitting down and you want to film something, you're the analyst of the game. Now, you and I and everybody else that goes there, we look at the film, we do our own study, and we have our own discussions. But we've got, like guys like Clemens that are actually in the locker room, and they're kind of putting their finger on the pulse and kind of knowing a few things to look for. But how do you do that if you're the television analyst on one of the major networks and you just want to Zoom it and just act like you're phoning it in, so to speak? I don't know. So we'll see if Romo's game changes. By the way, there is some rules changes that are coming to the college ranks. And we got into this a little bit yesterday. We didn't touch on it too much. It was towards the end of the show. And I wanted to kind of revisit it. And I know the prohibiting consecutive timeouts, the no untimed downs at the end of the first and third quarters, the clock running after the first down except inside of 2 minutes, the clock running on incompletions once the ball is spotted. I know those are a little bit different proposal-wise. I got to be honest, the prohibiting consecutive timeouts, I have no problem with. The whole icing of the kicker thing, stupid. Most of the time doesn't work. Every now and then it will, but most of the time doesn't really work. And every kicker you've ever talked to, especially in bad weather, says, I love it when they give me the extra time. I love it because that means I get a chance to actually get my footing, and I know exactly where to put the ball and exactly how I want it spotted. So it actually benefits the kickers in many different cases. The untimed down at the end of the first and the third quarter, it's a very rare thing where you have the untimed down. I really don't. At the end of the first and the third quarter, it's like, who cares? It doesn't matter too much. The clock running after first downs, except inside of 2 minutes. I don't have a problem with the clock running. Do you, Ben?
Well, that's what it's like in the NFL.
Right. I mean,
I'm fine with that.
That's more like the NFL game. I don't have a problem.
The thing is, like a lot of things with the sport of college football, the problems that they're trying to fix were created by themselves,
Right.
Those being the big suits up top. The reason that the games are so damn long is because they made it a television product, sold a ridiculous amount of ad inventory, and then have to find ways to put it in. So halftime is damn near 25 minutes long. They have a crazy amount of ad breaks.
Right.
And it's not that the NFL doesn't, but changing these rules won't change anything because they're still going to put in the same amount of ads.
Right. No, that I completely agree with. They still have the TV timeout, and that's not going away. Now, the clock running on incompletions once the ball is spotted.
I think that one's stupid.
I'm not a. I thought about this, and I thought, once the ball is spotted, I don't have a problem with it. But what about clocking the football? And you're stopping the clock. You're doing that to buy yourself that time. You're giving up a down to buy yourself that time. So in other words, you can spike the ball, but the minute they spot it, you're back. The clock's running again. I'm not a fan of that. That one is the one that I would not take advantage of. But the other three, I don't have a problem with. The whole thing about running an untimed down at the end of the first and third quarter, is there really a big demand, a time demand? Because most plays are anywhere from 4 to 8 seconds. Very rarely you get past 10. We're talking second here. You're not saving anything. It's not like you're going into a huddle and you're running the time clock down and then the play's going to run another 20 seconds like you're losing. I mean, at the worst case scenario, are you losing a minute? In reality, you're losing what? Maybe 27 seconds, 15 seconds, if that. On average, it doesn't make sense to me. So that's like a great big who cares. That doesn't bother me at all. But that's some of the proposed rules changes right now. 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. You want to hit us up? Go ahead and give us a shout. Are you a fan or not a fan of the rules changes that are being proposed? Hang in there. We got a lot more to get to. Still a couple of segments to go for the Bill Michaels Show. We'll be back coming up right after this.
This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
They say love is a universal language. Well, that's definitely true if you're talking about bacon. I mean, who doesn't love bacon? Forget the chocolates. Give the gift of bacon. It's everyone's love language. And you're going to love it that our bacon's on sale right now. With quick hot savings, we're taking bacon down to $2.49 a 12-ounce pack. Limit 2. Savings on bacon? Whoa, that's 2 love languages at once. We're multilingual like that. Quick Trip. We're saving your bacon.
Bill Michaels will resume in 5 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 4 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
Mentioning a little bit earlier about good Italian food, don't forget about our friends at San Giorgio Calderone Club, all downtown Milwaukee. If you're heading down for a game or just a good night out, either way, fantastic. Whether it's San Giorgio and Napolitana Pizzeria, or you stop over to Calderone Club for some fantastic Italian food. Either place, they pair it up with Cider Boys out of Point Brewing, local brewery, and great stuff down there. Gino always just says stop in and get the combo, whatever it happens to be. But Calderone Club is just fantastic Italian food. Spaghetti, the meatballs. The meatballs are award-winning. The penne sashina is awesome. Just unbelievable. But the chicken marsala is just out of this world. I mean, I can go on and on and on. Really good stuff. And then obviously San Giorgio next door. And again, they pair it up with Cider Boys. You can look for that on your store shelves, but they do it down there as well. So thanks to Gino and the gang for being a part of the program. 877-867 1670 again. 877-867-1670. Let's see here. Let's see. This is from A. Austin. Austin says the new rules change. He doesn't mind playing the untimed down. The rule for not stopping the clock, I think, is stupid because it changes some of the strategy to end games in football. You need that little bit of extra time to get the ball down the field and either score and or kick a field goal to win a game, tie game, whatever. I agree with that.
Again, going back to the kind of what they're proposing, the prohibiting the consecutive timeouts. No problem there. I think that's kind of stupid. No untimed timeout at the end of the first quarter and third quarter. Who cares? You're not saving much time there. The clock running after first downs, except inside of 2 minutes. That goes now, even inside of 2 minutes. Ben, I don't have a problem with them. If you pick up a first down, I don't mind them not stopping the clock. Because if you get the first down, run up, spike the football, then stop the clock. That's more the NFL style anyway. So no problem there.
What might be a little tougher is the hash marks are a lot wider. Like how the field works in college is different than the NFL. I still agree with you. It is weird to see the clock stop until they do set it up.
Yeah.
I don't know, honestly. I don't. I have much larger problems with the sport that don't have to do with the intricacies of those small rules.
Right. I find that these are somewhat minuscule. No big deal there for me. But the clock's running on the incompletion once the ball is spotted. That I have a problem with, because you need, an incomplete pass is an incomplete pass. You stop the clock, and go from there. That extends the games. I understand it, but it changes strategy at the end of games. For me, I mean, I guess that we'd all get used to it, whatever they do, but that I'm not a big fan of. But just some of the rules changes, proposals that they have coming into this upcoming season. Let's see here. Lambeau West says those needs, unfortunately, will not be fully addressed regarding the needs of the team. Speaking of the Green Bay Packers, and we talked about the process of needs 1 through 5, says none of it's going to be fully addressed until we have a quarterback not trying to tie up so much cap space. Well, also don't forget, eventually you're going to be back in the same boat. You have to, you'll have to either Jordan Love's the real deal, or you're going to have to be drafting a quarterback. One of the two. Rory says if you're going to add a number 6 to that, it would be Jim Leonard. By the way, Casey says impact tight end, depth on D-line, safety, wide receiver, right tackle depth. He says, I agree with all of that, and you're 100% accurate. So what does that mean? They're going to draft a running back, a center, a linebacker, and then another quarterback. Let's see here. Shafty says, whatever third-round choice they're going to get, it's probably going to be one of the best players never to see the field, because we all know that the Green Bay Packers screw up the third round, right? Right? Yeah, we know that too. They've not had success in the third round, that's for sure. It's almost like the third-round pick for the Packers is everybody else's Mr. Irrelevant. You hope that you finally get a Brock Purdy or somebody that can actually come in and contribute in the third round, because they just haven't been that. Haven't been that on the consistent. No doubt about that. It's been trials and tribulations of third round draft choices for a long time now. 877-867-1670. Hit us up. If you want to give us a shout, we still have phone lines open. You can find us 877-867-1670. That's why when you look at Mason says, who was this year's third round draft choice? I rest my case. Yeah, Sean Ryan. Not only did Sean Ryan not really play much, but then he got suspended for the PEDs and was pretty much done the rest of the season. Right? Amari Rodgers, prior to that, he's gone. Josiah DeGuara is still here, but really not contributing too much. Jay Sternberger, gone. Oren Burks, gone. Montravius Adams, gone. Who's else? I'm trying to think, going back. I can't think of the other ones. I know Ty Montgomery, he hung out for a little while, but Kyler Fackrell, thank you very much, Jake. Kyler Fackrell, gone. So third round draft choices have not necessarily been the landslide of talent that you would normally feel could be beneficial to the team. No, we already addressed that, Michael. He's talking about the acquisitions of the Brewers. Do you feel that they're going to make the 40-man roster? And if so, what do you think their place is going to be in it? Yeah, you're just waiting to see if any of these guys even stick. You know, you're talking about kind of piecemeal journeymen, so to speak. But again, you if you're the Brewers, this is what you do. This is what you do. You just keep throwing darts at the dartboard, hoping that something eventually hits, you know, and if you get a guy or two or maybe four, whatever, and it works out, then, you know, you get it, you know.
Gotta say, though, Luke Voigt looks just like a Brewer. Like, it fits perfectly. Have you seen how few buttons he buttons on his jersey?
No. Was it like?
I gotta send you a picture.
Okay, yeah, send me a picture.
Oh, it's insane. It's down to the belly button.
Okay.
Often. He has a big chest, so it all pops out, if you will.
Then this is from Nate, who says, and the Pittsburgh Pirates continue to be cursed. Did you see what happened today? I did. I didn't see it until just a moment ago when I really kind of flipped back over to Twitter, Nate, but thank you. So the Pittsburgh Pirates, they stopped their practice today. They had guests. Sometimes teams will bring in sponsors and such, and they'll like let them walk on the field, and they get to stand by the field and watch practice. But apparently one of their guests suffered, and now they call it a medical emergency, but basically this guest collapsed on the field. Needed immediate attention from trainers and doctors, and then the ambulance had to come to get him. The incident happened while the man was helping shake some fly balls. Maybe it was one of like their fantasy league guys or something. I don't know. But the guy's like just catching some fly balls, and then he just suddenly collapsed. And they had the officials ran out, and you know, the team doctors and stuff ran out, got a hold of him, and they apparently. The Post-Gazette Pirates beat writer, Jason Mackey, saying that the individual needed CPR. They witnessed this person getting CPR. The players took a knee, looked from the infield. A spokesperson for the Pirates said the man eventually became alert and responsive before he was taken to the hospital for further evaluation. The Pirates practice later did resume. The Pirates manager, Derek Shelton, spoke to the media afterwards about what, he said was a tremendous job by the medical staff, and they did an unbelievable job. So they can't give enough credit to the group, how quickly they responded. But you have the Pittsburgh Pirates. And I don't mean to giggle, but it's just Pittsburgh just runs into these really sometimes weird situations. And they had a guest who was there shagging fly balls and standing on the field with the rest of the team just collapsed. So, oof. That had to be a scary scene just to see somebody go over like that. Let's do this. We're going to step out. Final segment of the program coming up. Hang in there. Hang in there. More of the Bill Michaels Show coming up right after this.
Covering Wisconsin sports like a blanket. This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
Everywhere you look, from groceries to utilities to gas, prices keep going up. Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin can dramatically help lower your energy costs year-round by replacing drafty windows and doors in as little as 6 weeks. And now you can save even more by taking advantage of 0% interest for up to 48 months when you lock in your prices by February 28th. I'm Gina Della from Pella. Bring the love of Wisconsin's outdoors in through the beauty and quality craftsmanship of Pella Windows and Doors. Whether you're updating or upgrading the look and comfort of your home, Pella has extensive lines of customizable options to meet your needs and your budget, no matter the season. Replacing drafty windows and doors can dramatically lower your energy costs. Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin offers some of the most energy efficient windows in the industry, designed to keep the cold outside where it belongs. Lock in your prices by February 28th and get 0% interest for up to 48 months. Visit PellaWI.com.
Restrictions apply.
Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
It's bingo night tonight for everybody, 7 o'clock, and that might be the last chance to get out in a while, but Granny Bingo tonight over at Sunset Grill on Pewaukee Lake. If you're heading over, they have a Mardi Gras Day type of meal. They also have, they're going to do the Margarita Day meal. They're going to have the Fry-Yay, pastas and such, and seafood and all kinds of good stuff, but they've got the Granny Bingo coming up tonight, Sunset Grill on Pewaukee Lake. Stop on over. Now, by the way, Ben, I did see the picture. And not only does he have the jersey unbuttoned, but the chains and the chest hair and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, it's there. There you have it. So
looks like a Brewer.
He does. He kind of looks like he's ready to play for the Brewers, like a kind of a Rowdy Tellez type of look to him. Would you agree?
Yeah, if you mix Rowdy Tellez with Daniel Vogelback,
yes.
With a higher strikeout percentage of both of them combined.
Luke
Voigt.
By the way,
he hits like a Brewer too. He hits like 220.
Well, strikeouts 220. He doesn't put the ball in play. There you have it. By the way, from golongtd.com, Tyler Dunn just released a little while ago a really good read on Jordan Love, and I can't go through the whole thing because it's pretty long, but just talking about the want and some of the text back and forth he had with his old coach, and his ability to be, quote, ready to play in the league. Somebody at the top of the Packers organization still said that, look, Rodgers, they feel that Rodgers did not take it serious last year, kind of out of shape, didn't work on his body. We'll see, but it looks just like, It looks like there's a lot of people in the organization that are ready for Jordan Love. But we do, and we'll talk a little bit about this tomorrow on the program for sure. In the meantime, Ben, what did we miss today?
There's one big story, and it was the leading ESPN headline for at least 4 hours this morning, which might be a joke in and of itself. Phil Mickelson moving forward with a new team for the new Live Golf season, which kicks off, swings off, however you want to say. Yeah. Tees off, that's a good one. This weekend, the High Flyers with new addition Brandon Steele. They wrote this big story about how Phil's looking to right the wrongs of last year where his team absolutely stunk. So there are some new teams. There's some new rebranding with Live. The Niblicks are now the Range Goats with the addition of Thomas Peters from the DP World Tour. And then, you obviously have Cam Smith and all them over there on the Rippers. So that tees off on the CW on tape delay because I think they're playing in some Saudi Arabian area. So on the CW is where they will air alongside every old sitcom known to mankind.
I got to be honest. Terrible. It all just sounds terrible. There's nothing appealing about any of that.
Well, the worst part about it is the High Flyers and the Ironheads really got screwed. They went through and they reorganized the teams. They moved some guys off the 4 aces, but they just left the High Flyers in the dust. It's a real shame.
That just all sounds terrible. There's absolutely nothing in any of that makes me say, I got to watch that. I mean, nothing. There's that. That's it. Almost sounds like, and it I guess the best comparison would be it's like the XFL of golf. Good comparison.
I'm sorry. Say that again.
It's like the XFL of golf.
In a way, yeah. Definitely with the lower level. It's like if the XFL was bought out by the Saudis, and then all of the figureheads of the league were just complete a-holes.
Right. There is nothing there that even sounds even semi-appealing. So, there's not much. Not much. So, I'm sure you'll see more of that later today, but oh well. We'll talk about this Tyler Dunne story regarding Jordan Love and Jordan Love time. And I'll try to post a little bit of it over on Facebook later on tonight and on the Instagram page and such. But if you subscribe to golongtd.com, you're going to want to go there and read it. It just sounds like Jordan Love is really ready. At least he feels he's really ready. He said, some text back and forth to his former coach, quarterbacks coach Steve Calhoun, wanting to play. And I don't blame him. I have no blame for him. But we'll see. We'll see. But we're going to talk about that coming up tomorrow on the program. Good stuff today, though. Good stuff today. So let's do this. We're going to reconvene tomorrow. We'll talk a little bit more about the article regarding Jordan Love. We'll be back at it. See if there's any emergence from the darkness. And also the Brewers, how they look after only one day of full team workouts. Get into that discussion as well. Until then, time for us to go. Have a great Fat Tuesday, Punchki Day, and get ready for the storm.